Hello everyone, my name is Lycan and I'm sitting here with QXC and PengWin, and this is the late game episode 13, January 21st, and we're about to talk some StarCraft 2. With me again, QXC PengWin. Good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you, actually I think it's afternoon everywhere. So, QXC, how was your weekend?
Good. Sure. Good is fine.
Good.
It seems like an answer.
So I'll take it at good. You don't have to go into any more details. PengWin, how about yours?
It's going pretty well over here. It's kind of late, but I slept in, so I'm good.
Hey, this is earlier than most shows have been for you. Usually we start at 5:30 our time.
Yeah, man, that's a little more. Well, I mean, generally that's fine for me because my sleep schedule's like really shit. So usually I'm like awake till like 6 a.m. anyway, but it's a little nicer to have it a little earlier.
Good. Oh, I have noticed that I have named myself Destiny, and Destiny has been named me. Destiny will be back on later. He'll be back on in a little bit. He's doing some errands that he had to go out for, something with his kid and his mom and all that. So he's out doing that. So while with that, we've got a whole bunch of stuff. Let's pull up the agenda on a different screen so you guys don't get cut off. Excellent production quality per usual. All right. So on the agenda today, we're going to go over QXC versus Puck, and we're going to be focusing on a game where QXC implements a whole bunch of nuke action. It's going to be a lot of fun to look at. It's a very awesome game. Final results of WCS qualifiers, North America, Europe. We're going to see, where we are with those results. We're happy about it. Oh, and the SEA guys and all that as well. We're going to discuss who made it, who didn't, and what we're expecting to see out of those folks. We were ever so briefly, going to touch on, the crap that's been going on with Reddit. It was a busy week, one might say, in the drama department. So there's a lot to discuss there. And we're going to revisit the maps, get some opinions from the guys about how they're feeling about the new map pool now that we've been a week into it. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the proposed balance changes, and we're going to wrap it up with a really exciting announcement from ESL and something that's coming to the scene. So with that, guys, do you want to start off with the WCS qualifiers for this year?
Yeah, so which ones did you want to look at first, the North America or the Europe?
Let's take it to Europe. And PengWin, you'd said you had some notes on that, so if you want to kick us off on that.
All right, so I think talking about the people who qualified, there's a couple of names in there that people might not have expected to see. Mainly because they probably didn't know they existed. The names that jump out at me are Beastie Cutie, who's kind of been gone for like 2 years.
Yeah, he retired for a while.
Yeah, and like even when he was playing, like he wasn't really like a top tier foreigner. He was like there, like kind of there in the European scene. Like he was doing pretty okay, but was never considered like top Europe. So to see him qualify, especially after kind of being inactive for a while, is really surprising and really impressive because he made it in the first qualifier as well.
Right.
And like he played like only TBTs, so nobody can say like, "Oh, Patch Terran," like on us or anything. So then there's Majestic, who.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like Majestic, I feel like he had a little bit of an easy bracket, but he is a good player. Like he got top 16 at DreamHack Valencia last year, but it was kind of glossed over because he didn't really play against that many good players, and at the same tournament, Starbuck had a more impressive result, so people were more focused on Starbuck than Majestic, but he is a good player. And then the last name that kind of jumps out at me is Petit Drogo, who's a French player from Nuit Blanche, and he's actually been at the MYI house for like 5 months now. Like he's been here for a long time, and he's really good. Like he's been getting consistently better. And I'm not at all surprised to see him qualify, and I think he's going to do really well. I actually think he may be able to upset Bunny and make it into Premier. So yeah, that's my sort of analysis on surprising people that made it. Then of course there's the more obvious names that everyone's going to be happy about, or that a lot of attention's been given to, like your Naniwas, your Snoots, your Bunnies. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the other names are not really
for a while. Snoot failed to qualify for the first two, I think. And he didn't even lose. He didn't lose to like the highest tier player that I kind of expected Snoot to just play the first qualifier, maybe drop one map, maybe not, and then make it through. But he like didn't make it through two qualifiers, and then I think he finally made it in the third one. Drogo, I think for most people, they wouldn't know him. I've played Drogo a number of times on ladder and in practice games, though. I'm not at all surprised to see him go through. And yeah, it's the other big thing that this has shown, with so many tournaments kind of going away, and then this kind of being a break period, just DreamHack's still around, but DreamHack hasn't had an event for a little bit, and same with some other organizations. We've seen some of the retirements come out. Like, there are some players who you would have expected them to make it, but they're actually not active anymore, so they didn't.
Well, there's actually a couple of people in there who did play all the qualifiers who I did still expect to make it who didn't. Like, the biggest name that jumps out at me right off the top is Daishi. Like, Daishi for a while was looking like Europe's best Terran until Bunny kind of took that title for himself. And, like, Daishi's always been a really solid player, so to see him not make it is really, really surprising to me. And then you have, like, other people, like Atreus came over to Europe, and I expected him to make it relatively easily. Like, I didn't expect him to, like, breeze to the first qualifier, but I expected him to definitely make it. And then, like, Adon Minas, who's a bit of a smaller name, but he was in, I think, every single season of WCS last year. Like, he was present a lot. And then you have, like, Mini Razor, who kind of had a breakout WCS run in the last season of 2014 as well. So I think a lot of people expected Mini Razor to make it. And then there's a couple big-name people who missed it as well, like the Muslim Elfie and Gung Fu Banda, who's been doing really well, but obviously he got DQ'd. So
with that, let's talk about a couple of those people that did make it, that were on the top. But all right, so TLO made it. Do you see anything? Do you expect anything from TLO, or you have he's someone that a lot of people want to see him go through? Do you think he's gonna falter and he's gonna be out relatively quick?
I mean, based on how long, like he only qualified through the last chance qualifier, which means he had like a number of attempts that he failed. He was definitely playing in all of them. He takes the game really seriously, but maybe he's slumping a little bit right now, isn't playing his best. So I don't know about his challenger match against Rhett, whether he'll be able to take that, but I wouldn't be surprised if TLO doesn't go very far, based on just the form of the qualifiers and at recent events.
I feel like TLO Rhett could go either way. Like, if you look at 2014 as a whole, TLO should be the favorite on paper, but I know Rhett's been really doing a lot better recently. And TLO, like QXC said, he made it in the last qualifier. I'm not surprised that he made it, but he did struggle, so I think that could go either way. Yeah. I don't see either of these guys making like a round of 8 run or anything this season, but they're both capable of getting back up to that level, so hopefully we can see something from them.
I can't remember it off the top of my head, but didn't Rhett have a pretty formidable run through his bracket to qualify?
Let me double check that quick. I think it was in the 6th qualifier. Yeah. He went through Hope, DNS, Elfie, and Mini Razor, so not an easy one, but not like going through
a bracket of Koreans and
but at the same time, like, it was the 5th qualifier as well, so it's some of the better players who were left over.
True.
A lot of the players were already through.
Another player I missed when I was mentioning my surprising people who made it in, Psionic.
Yeah.
I didn't expect Psionic. Nobody expected Psionic to make it. Like,
I'm pretty sure Snoot is gonna 3-0 Psionic.
I mean, yeah. On the other hand, Snoot has historically had some trouble with people who are like cheesy Protosses, and Psionic is basically as cheesy as they come.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like, Psionic's also, like, going into that series, Snoot should just play really safe every single game, and I think it should be a pretty easy series. I could see Psionic taking a game, though, if he, like, pulls a fast one on Snoot.
So, real quick, before we continue with this, I've never done a shout-out before for a follow during the show, or I don't think ever on the show, but if you guys remember Red Bull Battlegrounds in Atlanta, I think it was, there was a guy who played on stage called Dirty GG, and my email popped up that he followed, so there's the picture of him. If you guys didn't see that fucking dude, he's kooky as shit. He's awesome. So yeah, thanks Dirty GG. Anyway, I just wanted to point him out because I didn't know he was still around. I hadn't seen anything from him. Anyway, sorry for derailing that. Do you have a favorite PengWin going through the European bracket?
As in, like, favorite to go the farthest in Premier, or?
Yes. I mean, I know you have Cyril playing.
Excluding 4GG?
Yes.
Hey man, I don't know. Marine Lord has some pretty good TVT. I have faith. No, I mean, yeah, I would love for Marine Lord to upset 4GG, but maybe. I believe.
Are you saying you see 4GG finals guaranteed?
Not necessarily, because you have people like Hydra from the North American side of things. That
Oh
are
yeah,
really strong. Like Violet, Polt, I would put them below 4GG right now, but they can still beat him. So
I just mean particularly in the European finals.
it's global next year.
Yeah,
Year.
they're combined.
It's one Premier League.
Ah, that's right. I'm sorry. The dogs are going crazy.
But yeah, I think as far as foreigners to go the farthest, I'd like to say Cyril. Cyril is a very good player. I think he still has some improving to do, though. Like, I think he'll beat Harstem. I think he'll advance into Premier. But I think he still has a little more improving to do before he becomes, like, the best European hope or whatever. I think he'll have a really good run at some point this year, but I'm not entirely convinced it'll be this season. I don't know. Like, looking at the names, the obvious ones that jump out are Bunny and Snoot. I think a lot of people are overestimating what Naniwa's going to do this season. Like, Naniwa's really, really talented, and he can definitely get really good again, but I don't think he's going to have too impressive a run this season. Round of 32, maybe. I think he will beat Nurchio, though.
Okay. I have... go ahead, Kevin.
My top picks are Lilbo, Koss,
Oh, yes.
and Bunny.
Yeah, Lilbo is actually sick good as well.
Bunny is a very strong player.
Man, Lilbo versus Showtime and Challenger, though, that could really go either way. Like, PvP between those two guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Showtime's a surprisingly good Protoss. He hasn't
really
had a lot of results, but when I played him on ladder, you can tell he's put a lot of thought into the game. He plays his own style. He understands what he's doing, why he's doing it.
Hey man, he's an EPS champion. Most well-respected tournament in the world.
Yes. Okay.
All right, I have the last person I want to ask about, of course, is Naniwa. Did you guys get to see his play? The games that were broadcasted?
I didn't really. Wait, no, I did. I did watch his games against.
Happy was it? I believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so the thing is that the game hasn't changed that much since he was in full form.
Right.
You know, it has changed, but a lot of the stuff is the same, like timings, build orders, unit compositions, and so if Naniwa just adjusts, if he remembers how to play, which he will, because, I don't know, pro gamers never forget, and then makes the adjustments that he needs to be current, I think he can do quite well. His games against Happy seemed solid.
I'm excited to see what comes from him. You know, we saw Stefano come back, and I think with the point you just brought up about how much the game has changed, I think with Stefano coming back for that little run, the game changed a lot more for him between his two periods when he retired and when he came back versus Naniwa when he was in his prime and when he comes back. So
Stefano kind of retired like as Heart of the Swarm was being released.
Right.
That was when he really fell from form, and so it feels like most of Stefano's skill is more wings, and then of course a lot of it carries over, but he didn't have the same peak in Heart of the Swarm that he did in wings, and so it's not hard to you would expect him to not be as good if he just comes back randomly.
Right. All right, let's move on to North America now. Pulling that up, North America. All right. I don't know if you make notes on that one too.
Yeah, I actually went through. I made what I called Penguin's Comprehensive Guide to WCS Competitors Who Failed to Qualify. And going into NA, I didn't actually expect to have that many names. There's actually a surprising number of people who I would have expected to make it who didn't. Top of the list is Drunken Boy Hendralisk. Those two guys, I don't know how much they've been playing, but they're really good players, and I'm a little surprised they didn't make it. And then like Gosu User. Sorry, go ahead.
Hendralisk, I think, has been slumping a bit lately. I think if the qualifier had been 5 or 6 months ago, he would have made it through no problem. And you were talking about Gosu User.
Yeah, he kind of came back. It felt like he like made the comeback just for WCS since it was region locked.
Right.
He came close a couple times, but I don't know. I think he was gone for long enough that he probably just needs a little more time to get back up to that level. His games didn't really look as good as I expected them to. I watched a couple of them.
Yeah.
And then Jon Snow also missed it, which I was a little surprised about. But I don't know. Like, all these players are like names that I would expect to make it, but I also don't know how much or how well they're playing right now. So I'm sure QXC has better insight into the NA scene than I do.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing with the NA scene is that very few of the players are actually full-time, and so their skill kind of comes and goes in waves. So they'll do something really great, and you'll hear about them, and you'll be like, wow, this player must be quite good. And then for whatever reason, they kind of drop off, they stop playing, real-life stuff gets in the way, whatever. You don't hear from them for a long time, and then something like this happens, and you're like, well, you know, I remember when he was good, so he's probably still good, and why didn't he make it? And it's just, when you're not full-time or you're not as serious about it, I guess, or if you're newer to the scene, I think there's a lot of oscillation. For some people who, you know, there's a couple people notably who have been going to school the entire time and doing pretty well overall. But a lot of that consistency comes when you've been a pro gamer for a long time, or at least playing competitively for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question for QXC.
Go ahead.
Who the hell is Semper, and is he the foreign hope we need against Bolt?
Man, I don't know who Semper is. I've never heard of him before.
I'll take that as a yes. He is the foreign hope we need against Bolt.
What
Bolt
team is he on?
3-0.
Team Gravity.
Gravity?
Okay. I didn't recognize that that logo. Yeah, I mean, TVT is a beast, and I think Polt's pretty decent at his TVT, so I'm not really sure.
TVT is one of the harder matchups to beat Polt in. Major's done it a few times. He's one of the most notable people to beat Polt in TVT. I think you have a better chance if you're playing mech against him rather than bio. But I don't really know. I haven't beaten Polt in a long time.
Gotcha.
/ ever. Possibly ever.
So, do you meet him frequently on the ladder?
No, I have no idea where Polt plays.
Okay.
I doubt it's on NA, but it could be. I think it's probably in Europe, so maybe I played his barcode, but he doesn't play on a named account.
Okay.
But I see him in like every tournament and qualifier.
Right.
If I'm playing well, I will see Polt because we'll be meeting somewhere down the line in the tournament.
All right. So now that since we have you here, I wish we had Kane for a little shit talk session. But what do you, do you have any?
Kane can't shit talk. He's too fucking Canadian. He like.
I don't know. If you shit talk too hard, he'll tweet at StarCraft.
No, man, but that stuff Naniwa said was retarded.
No, it was.
That's not even shit talking. That's just like, it's like, hey, I know you have like something wrong with you. Let me just bring it up and rub it in your face. Like, that's just stupid.
Yeah.
He definitely knew it. He deleted it as soon as he sent it.
Yeah, he's like, wow, this is too much even for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I said, all right, that was. I mean, you get that feeling. You make a joke, and then suddenly, you feel you cross the line. I'm sure Naniwa even has that.
I don't think that was a joke. I think he was just mad. Wanted to say something to make someone feel bad, but like, there's some stuff that even if you're shit talking, like it's just too much.
Yeah.
Kane and I actually played in this thing called Friday Night BM. It's like a show match. We played it last Friday, and the whole point of the match, I think, was to BM the person, like have good games, right? So Kane messages me and he's like, "Hey man, no hard feelings about anything that's said tonight. We're gonna do this thing." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine, whatever." And I ended up BMing him like 100 times more than he did. And at the end, I just couldn't keep going. I just felt like a bully because he wasn't saying anything back.
Didn't you beat him in that show match as well?
Yeah, barely did
I saw you guys played like 3 or 4 times already in like the last 2 weeks in tournaments. Like that's got to be really awkward going into WCS.
No, it's great. I've already showed all my builds.
How did you you were in that tournament this weekend? Was it the SEA Global or?
Yeah, I got fifth, sixth, I think. It went okay. It took forever though, man. The loser's bracket. The loser bracket in a tournament like that should have like 2 rounds that are best of 1 or something. because I ended up waiting like 3.5 hours between when I got eliminated from the winners bracket and when I could play in the losers. And I know, like, I think Snoot and Kane probably waited even longer.
Who were you playing? There was a Terran that I saw that I think you lost to.
Oh, I lost to Eagles.
Okay, that's who it was. Now, was that in the loser bracket?
Yeah, I lost to Kane, then I lost to Eagles. I was playing really bad that day, though.
Okay.
Or, like, as the day went on, I was kind of running out of mental power or whatever.
Right. That's the only game I actually got to catch. I liked watching it. I didn't like seeing you lose, of course, but, you know. All right, so let's move on to China real quick. XY. Now, XY was the guy who was booted from WCS last year for match fixing, right? It was XY
win trading on ladder.
Win trading, that's what it was.
Which is, like, not even a big deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
It's just, like, being lazy is what win trading is.
Right, because my understanding is that he was top anyway. I mean, he would have...
Yeah, no, he could have easily gotten the wins. So what it is, like, there's some miscommunication. Blizzard releases the rules. Nobody actually reads them because rules are dumb and who reads them. And then, like, a week before, he's like, oh, fuck, I need, like, 200 wins on NA. Like, I don't have time for that. And then he win trades. It's like...
Yep.
The biggest surprise to me in China was that Clavey qualified. And nobody knows who Clavey is. And the only reason I know who Clavey is Clavey used to live in Switzerland. And he used to, like, have Swiss flags in whatever tournaments he played in, which made all of us really, really sad because he's really BM. And, like, the one other time I've seen him is, like, Jinro posting screenshots of him being ridiculously BM on Korea Ladder. And, like, the fact that Clavey got 2K from WCS just makes me sad. But then he got stomped into the ground 3-0 by Shigua, and it wasn't even close, so that made me happy. But, yeah, so Clavey, that was weird. It's also kind of weird to me that it's weird to see that Tudning's not in there. But at the same time, when there's only 4 spots for China, and there's like 6 or 7 really good Chinese players, and some of them aren't going to make it, like you have XY Tudning in top not making it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like... Fucking Clavey, man.
So, all right, with that, I mean, well, hey, he lost to Zigwa, so we have Ayasonu, Jim, Zigwa, and Max said. No Terran from China, unfortunately. But do you have any?
XY is like the only Terran in China.
Do you have any favorites from there?
Jim, I think, is the most recognizable, like overall well known, but he was having a tough time last year, so hard to say. I think any of those players, if they're on form, could do quite well, and if they've been, if they're not on form, they're going to do poorly. I can't say. None of them have been like a consistent powerhouse for their career. Shigua went to the finals at one of the WCGs. Maxed and Jim have both taken series off of Koreans in major tournaments, and I think Ayasona has done some team league stuff and done well there, but I'm not 100% on that.
My biggest favorite of these guys, obviously, like you said, Jim is the biggest, like, kind of household name as, like, oh, the Chinese hope. I think Ayasonu is actually going to be the best player this season, and possibly this year. He's really up. He was up and coming last year, and like you said, he did pretty well in ATC. He went 8-12, which isn't the most amazing result on paper, but when you look at the kind of people he was playing against, like, that's a pretty good result, a pretty good record. And I'm pretty sure Ayasonu is going to do quite well. I don't know the Chinese scene as well as I do the other scenes, obviously, but of those names, he's the one that jumps out at me as the probable Chinese hope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Chinese hope.
Oh, the Taiwan qualifiers happened.
So, Latin America, we're going to hit that real quick. Major, Kelazor, Jim Rising, Cats, Major 3-0, Jim Rising.
The results were really not very surprising.
I don't know much about Kelazor. Do either of you?
Yep. QXC probably knows a lot about him as well. He's a pretty good up-and-coming Terran. He did really well recently in the IEM qualifiers for IEM San Jose. He didn't quite make it, but he played some really good games. He played a really good series against QXC, actually. And, I mean, he's been showing better and better results. I don't see him making out of the round of 32 this season, but it's cool for him that he's in there.
What do you think of him as a player, Kevin?
Pretty much what PengWin said. Up and coming. He has taken series off of good players. I think he won. He was in a group with Scarlet, and he won the first time he played her and lost the second time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that happened.
Yeah, that was an ASL.
Yeah. So, I don't know. He's starting to establish himself, but I don't think he's quite there.
Okay.
He would have to elevate his skill a significant amount to make it much past 1 or 2 rounds.
Right, right. All right, now we got the Oceana and Southeast Asia. Pig, King Kong, Ayugos, and Ender. Ayugos and Ender. So we have, Pig and Ayugos going with that one. What do you think of Pig? You're starting to see him around more and more.
So happy. I am so happy for Pig because, like, a lot of people don't really follow the Southeast Asia, like Australia scene all too much. But King Kong just wins everything in the Southeast Asia scene. And he just ZBZs his way through everything. And for a while on Illegal Lock, because some issue with the way they are calculating, but like King Kong was rated the highest ZBZ player just because his win rate in ZBZ was just so high because he just plays all these SEA tournaments. And like he beats Pig so much more often than Pig beats King Kong.
He 3-1'd him. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, before the 3-1, of the last 8 meetings they had, 6 of them were won by King Kong. And then, like, 1 was a 2-2. I don't know how that happened. And then Pig won the last one. So, like, really, really nice for Pig to win that. I'm really, really happy for him. And the bigger surprise for me of the other one, the biggest surprise at all, was that Ender almost made it. Like, Ender is such a weird player. And just like how weirdly he was playing almost threw Iegas off to the point where Iegas lost. But I think Iegas is a much better player. I'm not surprised he won, but I'm really surprised that Ender took 2 games.
I've played Ender a bunch. Basically his playstyle is like very energetic. He's got like a lot of focus and attention to throw around, and he really likes attacking, but he's not solid. He doesn't have like really strong macro behind it, really strong timings behind it. He's just like, I'm just gonna fucking like run by and attack you for 25 minutes, and like if you attack me, I'm not gonna defend, I'm just gonna keep attacking you. And it's one of those, like, once you identify that he's the type of player you're playing, you kind of slow your game down and make sure that you're playing a little bit more safe and cautious, because you can tell the things that he's doing aren't really correct.
Right.
They're not like, it's not like, this is not a time where you should be able to like make a bunch of units and attack me. Like, it doesn't make sense, but it's so unusual that it's easy to get caught off guard by it. The units do a little bit more damage. It starts to snowball out of control. I don't know how much Eagos plays NA, but I played Ender a few times on there, and it definitely does not surprise me that the series was close.
Okay, I have a question about that. You brought up the point of, that kind of weird style playing against it where, you think this doesn't make sense. And one of the themes I always heard echoed by Idra was that you play up against someone and this doesn't make sense. They shouldn't be doing that, So what does it say about a player to be able to adapt to that? Do you think that's something rough, for instance? A lot of people say he's annoying to play against because, he's doing things that don't make sense or that you shouldn't be doing, in the standardized way of how the meta has evolved. So what do you think do you think that there is a certain, I guess, skill in being able to go against those people and defeat them?
You have to open your mind, is basically what it is. Like, there's a reason that nobody plays like Ruff. And there's a reason that the way Ender plays is also not very common. But if you don't actually know what those reasons are, then you lose to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of it is just, when you play a best of 5 against someone, you're not trying to beat every single Zerg player. You're playing one specific Zerg player, one specific Terran player. All you have to do is mind game that person, play against that person's tendencies and that person's strengths.
Right.
And then you go to the next match and you do it again. I think something that happens to certain people, like I think it's more of an intellectual thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you may get where I'm coming from, you may not. But when you're doing, let's say, high-level mathematics or science, a lot of the time you're not looking for a specific solution to a problem, you're looking for a general solution that works in all problems. And so just because this specific problem has some additional information that you wouldn't normally have, you try not to use it because you're like, well, what if I didn't have that? How do I solve this?
Right.
And a lot of people want to look at StarCraft like, I don't want to blind counter. I'm going to use Hitman, who's the Protoss Bonjour on NA, the all-in king. When you play Hitman, there's this tendency, you're like, well, for me, it's like I don't want to blind counter what I know he's going to do, because then if I'm playing another Protoss who's doing that same build, who I'm not blind countering, like I'm going to lose to it, right? And that's kind of the dilemma that a lot of people get into. But when you're playing a match, it doesn't fucking matter if you blind counter the guy. Like if he's so predictable that you can just blind counter what he does and win, then you do that. And
right.
In practice, you look for the more general thing. You look for the thing that's going to win you more games in the long run.
Right.
And I think that's kind of why, Ruff is a good example of this. Like, Ruff has, like, pretty solid ladder stats. Like, he's generally quite highly ranked on the NA ladder. But when he goes to tournaments, you never see, like, Ruff had, like, this crazy sick run. And I think it's because it's very, very easy to, in a tournament setting, just blind count. Like, if you've beaten that person once or twice, like, on ladder in practice, like, 2 or 3 times is all you really need to get a grasp of, okay, the reason I'm beating him is because this works exactly well against what I know he's going to do. Right. And then you just go into a tournament, you do that, you win, and then they're out. Which is why, like, people like Hitman has never had a ridiculously crazy tournament run, and Ruff has some decent ones at MLG, but, like, no really high placings as well. Whereas, like, people who are not as highly ranked on the ladder might have more success in tournaments just because they don't have such a predictable playstyle.
Right.
Yeah, they don't have such a... There's kind of 2 parts to it. One is the predictability, and the second part is the lack of a backup skill set. When I play Hitman, I feel confident that I could open gas first every single game and win, basically no matter what he does. Because either he tries to all-in me and that build counters the one base all-in that he's going to do, or he tries to play macro and he loses because his macro is bad. Like, I've played enough games against him that have gone to macro where I'm like, oh, if the game goes above 8 minutes and you don't all-in me, I actually just win because you're so bad at the other parts of the game, because his practice is so focused in that specific place.
Yep. All right, so let's, last thing is I wanted to ask you if you had thought of a pro, while obviously we kind of know exactly who it is, if there was a prominent pro who played like Ruff and succeeded, but do you think there's anyone that, kind of deviates enough to be, I guess, Ruff light?
I think the closest people are people like Maru or Marine King. They have their own specific style. They're pretty cheesy. I'm just thinking of Terrans here. Pretty cheesy, a lot of early timings. The thing about Maru and Marine King, though, is that they do builds that work, and they do them really well, and they have solid mechanics behind them.
Right. Like,
if you ever watch Ruff stream, he starts, like, he expands really late, he banks tons of money. Like, in general, his macro is not super strong.
Okay.
And a lot of people, like, it's kind of a joke among pro gamers that I talk to, is like, we watch Ruff play and we're like, what would actually be terrifying is if someone like Bunny was doing Ruff builds.
Well, I remember, like, Balloon tried a couple Ruff builds against Ruff in WCS qualifiers last year, and it ended up with, like, 170 Reapers on Catalina. This was, like, Ruff's build every single TVT was to just go 5 racks Reaper, so Balloon went 6 racks Reaper, and he won. Like, it was so stupid. But I think, like, another good example of, like, a Korean who just, like, is kind of like a Ruff light, or it's like Gumiho kind of has his own style. Yeah. And, like, Ruff also likes the mass Raven mech, and Gumiho is just really, really good at doing that. And, like, Gumiho has quite good results, but he's more solid. Like, he doesn't do 5 racks Reaper into Planetary Fortress in your main. Like, because there's a reason that you don't see those things happen.
Game. All right.
Like, that's actually one of his builds. Like, it's not just one game. Like, it's what he does on ladder as well. It's like, it's crazy.
I'm thinking of the Red Bull game against Sir Robin or whoever it was.
It's really impressive that he makes those things work.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, let's wrap up the WCS qualifiers. Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau. Is that how you say that? Haas, Sen, Rex, Ian. They haven't played yet. You guys have a favorite out of there? Two you think are going to qualify?
Sen and Haas are the most likely.
I think Ian and Haas, actually.
You think
Ian is
Sen?
really good. Like, Sen is really good as well.
Okay,
I think that could go either way. Like, Sen is obviously the most well-known.
$50.
$50?
$50.
Why the hell not? Yeah, sure. Okay.
All right, let's shake on it. Ready? Shake. Okay.
But yeah, I think Ian is really, really good. I think Sen kind of fluctuates in how much he practices, and I don't know how much he's been practicing, but I know like Ian is like last I heard Ian's actually in Korea right now, like training really hard in the Yowie Startail house.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I think he can definitely do it. Rex, I'm really surprised to see him in there. I don't know him that well, but
if you look at the qualifiers, for this region, it was basically win 2 best-of-3s and you're through.
Yeah. Especially for the people who are seeded into Stage 2. Actually, wait, Stage 2 was 1 best-of-5. Wow. So it was like 3 series through 2 stages. That's kind of weird. But yeah, I mean,
that is weird.
Quite good. Like Vanilla is pretty decent. AK is pretty decent. Fist is pretty decent. Those are the ones I know that jump out at me. I don't know who Go-Go Joey is.
I don't know. I don't know who that is either.
Yeah.
But I think most of the people who I expected to go through, like at least get to the second set, went through, and
there's only
then of course only 2 people make it through from the final thing. But Taiwan's for the amount of spots that Taiwan has, I think it's a pretty tough region. Because I could easily see Sen, Ian, Haas, and 1 or 2 of the Wei Spider guys, depending on how well they're playing at the time, like all being contenders for those 2 spots.
The really cool thing as well to consider for the Wei Spider and the Flash Wolves people is like they have really good Korean teammates to practice with.
Yeah.
Like they can definitely get some insight, especially Flash Wolves. Like Flash Wolves has, I mean, if you're going up against a Terran, there's not that much Terran practice potential on Flash Wolves. But like if you're going up against a Protoss or a Zerg, you have Parting, you have Parting, you have Lenok, you have San. San is who I was gonna mention. Yeah. And like you have some really strong practice partners there. And like a lot of people like to point out that like just because you're on a team with somebody doesn't mean you're a regular practice partner, but when it comes to something as important as WCS, like they'll help each other out.
Yeah, and I think that like when you live with someone, that becomes less of an issue. You know, foreign teams in general are not practice squads like at all. I've never heard of that actually being the case for an extended period of time, but when you live with someone, you almost can't help but practice with them. The only real exception there, I think, is when there's a language barrier, because it's like what it basically is you become friendly with the people you live with, then you want to do things with your friends. You both play StarCraft, so fucking play games with them.
The thing is, like, even if you're not practicing with each other, you're still going to be discussing matchups, discussing play styles.
Right,
and
that like
helps
the
a lot as well.
Barrier problem.
Yeah.
So depending on how well these guys speak whatever common language, English was the common language when I was in the Spider House. Between me, the Koreans, and the Chinese or the Taiwanese.
Living abroad.
I don't know how it is in Flash Wolves, but
all right. So
yeah, go ahead.
No, we're bringing in. We're bringing Puck in.
We're bringing in Puck.
Yeah, bringing in Puck.
That sounds great.
Holy fuck!
Puck, are you on an airplane? We're in a wind tunnel.
Oh man.
You should be. There's 3 of them bottom.
Is he gone?
Puck? Oh, he might have muted his mic or something while he fixed whatever. Maybe he has a fan right on his desk or something. Okay, so we're gonna fix this. We're gonna move into actually a couple questions real quick. So let's adjust the scenes and then we'll take care of that right now. In the interim, tell us about Taco Night, Stefan.
Taco night?
Yeah. What kind of tacos did you make tonight?
Good tacos. I don't know how to really elaborate on that. I just kind of rushed dinner because it was like 10 minutes before the show was starting.
All right. So when you have, when you have taco time, do you do guacamole, sour cream? How do you do your tacos?
I like refried beans.
Good.
Guacamole sometimes. Yeah, meat, obviously. Doesn't really matter what kind of meat, as long as it's good meat.
That's what she said.
Then, yeah, some lettuce, some cheese, just kind of standard stuff, I guess.
All right. Are you a guacamole fan?
Yeah,
Guacamole is stupid on tacos.
What? Yeah, okay, tacos. All right.
It depends on what
Soft
you put in it, I think.
tacos. I mean...
No,
Yeah.
because so the whole point of guacamole is no. Shut up. We're gonna talk about this. The whole point of guacamole is to be able to eat something that like doesn't hold avocado normally, right? And you mix a bunch of stuff together because you want your like you want to scoop and you get like avocado and tomato and onions and like all these spices. You want to like get all of that at once, right? So you eat it with chips or like you put it on a sandwich. But if you're eating a taco, like you just put all that shit in the taco. You don't have to make guacamole. You just like cut it all up and put it in the taco.
What about soft tacos? It's different. Soft tacos.
No, it's not different.
It
No,
is.
it's
It's a
not really
fucking
different.
small burrito.
No, it's not
it's a
fucking
smaller
different.
burrito.
It's literally the same. If you think you need guacamole for your tacos, you have a brain problem.
I
Puck-
concede the point of tacos.
Puck, do we get your
QXC knows
face?
More about guacamole.
Does that sound better?
Whoa.
You sound a little better. It
You
does
sound
not.
like a robot, but the wind tunnel is gone.
You need a mic sponsorship, man. All right, we got you. Look at that. That's Puck.
Puck, are you on a team?
He's muted. You're muted, Puck.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix my mic. I don't know what's wrong with it. All this
Maybe
it
it's
sounds
using your
better.
webcam mic, but it sounds a little better now.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
That was incredible conversation.
Yeah, I joined Flipside.
What is that?
It has a
What do they
very
do?
popular CSGO team, but like, there's like me, Bales, Jon Snow, and a couple others on it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to ask a few questions. We're going to take a few questions. So we don't normally do this in the middle of the stream, but we're going to do it because they're about NA, and I've got 2 NA players and someone who's friends with a lot of NA players. So I want to see your opinions on these. The first one is from Macro Jackson, and he's asking, do you think AM pros are training hard for WCS matches? And he feels that he's getting the vibe that nothing really has changed. A lot of people are saying fuck it, like Scarlet streaming Dota, very much giving that a vocal about not not caring too much.
Yeah, I think it's easy to say that they don't care. I don't think that's correct, though. I think at least for me and from the people that I've talked to, is it's not that we don't want to do well. It's not that we don't care. It's that playing the game is like physically
I'm gonna go
painful.
bottom with rolled.
Why is that?
Or I don't know why it is, but like I feel like my brain is so fucked up right now. Like I just cannot play a lot of StarCraft. It makes me super angry and just like depressed. Of course the wins are fine, but like I just cannot handle losses right now, and I don't know why that is. It hasn't been this bad in a long time. But I think for a lot of people, it's just too little too late. They've had such a long set of bad experiences with StarCraft for one reason or another, and they're tired of doing it. That's how I feel anyway, and that's kind of the vibe I've gotten from some people.
All right, Puck, before you start, first question is, how do you feel guacamole, and would you put it on a soft taco?
Yeah,
Thank you.
why not? I like guacamole.
Look at that.
No, it's not. Okay, that's the wrong question, though. The question is, would you go through the time and effort of making guacamole just to put it on a taco? Or would you
Absolutely
just
not.
would you just put all the shit you were going to put in the guacamole on your taco?
Just put all the stuff that you're gonna put. Just
Yeah, exactly.
put it all. on
Okay,
there.
I'm not saying that's
I don't know
wrong.
who I'm arguing with, but that's
Penguin
my
has house bitches to make food, so he can go downstairs and just be like, "Hey, thanks for making the guacamole. You get to continue staying here. I'm going to go back and get on the show. End of story.
I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. One of my bosses cooked it, but
You showed him
I
his
guess.
boss, and he cooked your food.
Yeah.
All right. So, second question, Puck, being, how do you feel about it? I mean, how do you feel personally about your, your practice schedule and those around you, your peers? How do you feel that Americans are approaching the lack of Koreans?
I feel like, in general, like, it's slowed down a bit. But, like, it's not like people don't care. I feel like a lot of the people who haven't been in Challenger that often want to practice a lot, but there's other things that have been coming up, like school. Some of them have jobs because they don't actually make a living off of StarCraft as well. But, like, referencing to Scarlet, like, she has wrist pain and she's probably just kind of getting tired of StarCraft, and she's been playing Dota with some close friends, so... And I can't really speak for everyone else. I'm sure Kane's practicing a lot because
Yeah, but Kane's
it's...
like actually playing.
Man, I mean, I can't really speak for everyone else, but...
Yeah, what were they talking about? Kane, that's why he's not here tonight. He's like, I got to practice, man. Practicing hard.
Yeah. I don't think Kane has been hit by the curse.
The the curse that makes StarCraft hurt?
Yeah. We'll just call it the curse.
I think Guitar Cheese has actually been playing quite a bit, but he's still playing, like, he's practicing. He's, like, practicing by streaming random, so I don't know how much how much of his, like, effort he's putting into this, but he is playing quite a bit. I've played him several times on ladder.
I wonder how beneficial practicing random actually is, though, because, like, all the top Koreans, when you play their off race, they're, like, high GM on the Korean ladder with their off race
It really depends who, though. Like, some of them, it's kind of like, it's the same with foreigners. Like, some foreigners are really good at all races, some of them aren't. Like, same with Koreans. Like, Jakji is, like, really, really good at Protoss, but, like, you put him in front of a Zerg, and you put him in as a Zerg, and he won't know what the hell to do. The one time I saw Stardust play Zerg, he, like, was like, in Platinum League, and he lost. Because, like, he forgot Ling speed, and then it went to macro game, and he forgot Roach speed, and, like, he had, like,
Essentially what it is, like, if you know a build and you can play it to a point, you can, generally speaking, play the race. That's, like, been my experience anyways, because, like, I had Scarlet teach me a build at a Rebel LAN before, and, like, I was starting to be mid-GM Terrans on the NA ladder with the Zerg, and I could barely play High Masters before it, so, like,
yeah,
it's very dependent on builds, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, a huge part of the game is just this, like, knowing the strategy to use and being able to execute a build order. And the difference between being, like, mid-masters and GM, a lot of it is mechanics, and a lot of it is strategy. But, like, we already have mechanics. So I used to off-race. My off-racing kind of, like, comes and goes depending on who is willing to play with me, basically. Like, it's hard to find people who will play off-race, but I basically found that it's not worth playing off-race if you don't have a build order, because then you're just doing nothing, because you're not going to figure out how to play the other races quickly enough for it to be valuable. You're just going to be derping around. And the people you play against aren't going to be fucking doing random things, so you have to like find a build order, copy it down. You practice it like 2 or 3 times so that you can do it without looking at your notes, and then you're like, all of a sudden you're like GM with that race.
Okay, so I brought this discussion up on Twitter the other day, and now that I have you guys here, do you think there's a pro gamer, like a true pro gamer, that cannot achieve masters on every race at this moment?
Yes. I can say that with confidence because Kane is not capable of getting anywhere with Terran. And Kane was telling me he doesn't think his Protoss now would get above plat, and he doesn't know how to play Terran. And I know Stardust is not capable.
Puck, your fan.
What was that noise?
There was a fan.
There's like something horrible in your end.
I have no idea. I thought the problem was fixed, apparently.
It just came back for a second, but it's gone now.
It, like, came right when PengWin was talking, and then it stopped when he stopped talking.
Yes.
But it was coming from you.
Huh.
So I don't know why you hate PengWin so much, but you
I have no idea actually.
All right. Well, I guess if it starts happening again, you can just mute between talking.
Yeah, I could switch mics if it.
Finally got a four.
Seriously.
I think if
Nice.
I took Kane by my side and gave him the Jedi training for like 30 minutes, he could be GM with all three.
Oh yeah, maybe, but like at the same time, like the question was like, is there a pro gamer that at this point in time can't achieve masters with all three races?
right
I
this
think
moment?
there's tons of them.
Okay.
Like-
All right.
I think any pro gamer that's classified as a pro gamer that makes their living off of StarCraft by playing, except for professional streamers, obviously players, could achieve GM with every race if they focused on those other races and actually learned builds and practiced within
Yeah,
a week.
I think if
Within
you
a
can get
week,
GM,
I don't know.
if you can get GM with one race and like actually get GM, not this like rank 109 bullshit. Like, if you're actually GM, you know, like top 80, top 50 or whatever, you should be able to switch races and get GM with the other one within like not a trivial amount of time, but I would say like not that long, depending on how much help you're getting. Like, it'll take longer if you try and do it yourself, but
Okay.
if
So
you can just get someone to be like, hey, this is a build order that will win you games, and like you play a game and you lose and you're like, hey, what did I do wrong? And they're like, this is what you did wrong. Then it goes a lot faster.
right. So thinking with regards to that, I mean, do pro gamers? My thought has always been that they would be able to get masters because they have that knowledge. If they have that knowledge of to be a professional gamer, our top pro gamers every year qualifying for WCS. To be at that level in your main race, do you not have to have an understanding enough of the other races at a high level?
So the main problem is the two off matchups. Like when I play Zerg or Protoss, I can play against Terran okay.
Mhm.
But when I have to play like ZVZ or PVZ or PvP, like I don't know the strategies
Right.
for each side. And so it's a lot harder. Like when I play ZVT, even if I don't have a build order, I can approximate the idea of a build.
Right.
And it's not going to be like high GM execution, but it'll be like Masters somewhere, depending on how familiar I am with it.
Okay.
I'll still rest my case that you can still get GM no problem, because it's like, it's not like you have to learn the whole race. All you basically have to do is learn like a 2-base, early 3-base timing, execute it, and you either win or you lose. And it's like, sure, there could be some build order wins and losses when you play ZBZ, but overall, I feel like that still shouldn't be an issue, because a lot of it is like Ling Bling micro, and if you can do that, then you can do basically anything up to a point.
Probably where they are.
All right. All right. So let's. I think we have one more question, and this is just for actually for QXC real quick before we're going to move on to replay analysis. So the first is, just real quick. You know, you don't have to go through the details, but could you suggest a build per matchup for Terrans to practice, macro builds to practice in each matchup?
Sure. So against Protoss, Reaper, expand into 3 racks. Against Zerg, Reaper expand, Banshee, 3rd CC. Against Terran, Reaper expand into whatever. That one's a little trickier because there's a lot of different ways you might have to transition.
Right, especially with their openings. With the Zerg one, is that Banshee Hellion or Banshee Hellbat?
Banshee Hellion.
Okay. And with the
Anytime you add Hellbats to any build, it like becomes all in.
Right.
Or a timing. So you just make a Banshee or 2 depending, and make Hellions.
Okay. And all right. So with that, the last question is another Terran wants to know: is there any point in the game where you deliberately stop muling, or you save the mules for scans? I guess I assume is what that question means.
Yeah, but you usually wouldn't save like. You don't stop muling. You just save like some number of energy. And
Okay.
It's usually you only need like 1 or 2 scans
Okay.
at most. That's like enough to save.
Okay. All right. With that, we're gonna move in. So we're gonna put a little transition screen up there. We're gonna hop in the game real quick. And we're in there already. I haven't been watching what's going on in here. We have PengWin in here?
Yep.
Oh, cool. All right. So then we're
I'm
going to...
probably not going to be able to say anything about this, though, 'cause I play Zerg. I'll just listen intently and build up my game knowledge for WCS casts.
That sounds good to me. All right, let me make sure we get in the right one. We're getting here, and so I'm just adding pictures in right now. But if you want to go ahead and kick it off whenever you're ready, we are up on it.
Okay. So last week we did a replay analysis, and we kind of didn't actually know what we were doing. This week we're doing a replay analysis, and we have a point. So you should all be very excited for that. The point of this replay analysis is to demonstrate how to effectively use nukes against Protoss in late-game Terran versus Protoss. So before we actually start watching the nukes fall, the biggest question that hopefully you have, and if you haven't, I'm going to ask it for you, is why use nukes at all? And the simplest answer is because Storm kills everything, and Storm is super obnoxious, and nothing is supply efficient against Storm. So in order to actually harass the Protoss player and do damage to them besides your main army, medevacs become increasingly less efficient as the number of High Templars and the amount of Storms increases. And that's basically 2 High Templar with 2 Storms each can deal with a disproportionate amount of bio.
I didn't see them there.
Is anything that I said confusing or wrong?
I feel like I'm in high school.
Great,
right now.
You are. Sit down, shut up, and listen. Okay. So, instead of using mass medevacs and being inefficient, we use ghosts and nukes as an effective way to harass the Protoss player in a low supply investment. So if you consider 1 ghost and 1 nuke, it's only 2 supply invested and about 300, 200 resources. You can do a lot of damage, a disproportionate amount of damage. There's nothing else that can do as much damage as 1 nuke for the amount of resources and supply you commit to it. The other reason that it makes so much sense in this matchup and not in any others is because you have to build a ton of ghosts to fight the late game Protoss army anyway. So splitting off 1 or 2, you don't really have to count the cost of Cloak or the Ghost Academy or even really the ghosts that you're making as much in terms of how much it costs to actually do nukes. Against Zerg, you'd be like, well, I have to get a Ghost Academy, then I have to make a Ghost, then I have to get Cloak. Like, in this matchup, you're getting all of that shit anyway, so the only actual extra investment in terms of resources is the nuke, and in terms of attention and strategy is actually using the Ghost to nuke them. Does that all make sense?
Sounds good.
Cool. So,
where you want to ping where I'm going to focus?
Yeah, sure. So this is going to be the first nuke of the game, of which there are many, and this is kind of just getting it started. So one of the great things about nukes is that the Protoss player doesn't know where it is, and that's one of the most important parts of the nuke in terms of the attention that it costs. So Puck, you can speak a little bit about this. How does it feel to get nuked? What do you have to do?
It's very annoying. You have to build observers, put them everywhere. And I mean, like, if I would have had like a pylon over here, for instance, and had an observer with my army, and I realized that the nuke was coming from here, I could have warped in and tried to kill that ghost. But it's like takes a while to figure out where it's actually coming from, because when you play against people who nuke, some will do it like all over the main, some will go for the mineral line. So it's like you literally are looking everywhere. I suppose like your primary target would be looking at all your mineral lines, but like it's such a small red dot, and like if you put it like directly on top of the nexus, it's like really, really hard to see. So you like have to focus a lot of energy on your nexuses.
So right here is a good example of, so you don't want to just nuke, because one of the so left unattended, a nuke has a disproportionate amount of power. When attended to, the nuke does almost nothing. And so one of the most important things to do while nuking is to increase the amount of multitasking your opponent has to do. Because defending a nuke is primarily an attention-based defense rather than a resources-based one. Because you just move, the nuke is stationary, you know where it's going to land once you find it, which takes attention. And then you move things away, which takes attention. And then when the nuke falls, you move things back, which also takes attention. But you're generally not losing a ton of resources if you have the attention to spare, which is why it's super important when you want to nuke your opponent, you be aggressive somewhere else and reduce the total amount of attention your opponent has. So you can see here, I'm nuking. At this spot, Puck has already identified where the nuke was. but at the same time, I moved my army up to here, and I was threatening the front. And so even though he was able to respond, I was basically consuming all of his attention for that small amount of time. He's not doing any warp prisms. There's no probes on the map. There's no run-bys, because he's got to find the dot, and once he's found the dot, he's got to move stuff away, and then he's also got to worry about this attack at the front because I moved my whole army right outside his base.
Now, what made you decide to go into the Nuke harass? What was the prompt for that? Is it just late game normal strategy for you?
Yeah, this is basically how I play late game TVP. And the biggest, so there's two reasons that the nukes are so important here. The first one is what I already explained, in that Storm is very hard to be supply efficient against, so it's very hard to actually harass the Protoss player. You can see in his main he's got 2 High Templar, both with 2 Storms each. That's only 4 supply. With the flexibility of, let's say, a 5 to 10 Zealot Warp-In, he can deal with much more than 4 supply worth of units. 4 supply is a medevac and 2 Marines. So he's got 2 supply there. I'd probably need 20 to 30 supply to make a drop there worth it. Whereas if I dropped 1 Ghost and like 2 Marauders and a Marine, I snipe the 2 High Templar, I can nuke his base, and that's like 8 supply, and it's cost efficient for me. The other big reason that I like nuking is because attacking into the Protoss player is extremely difficult. Both players have a lot of trouble attacking into the other, because you can either kite with Storms and Colossus, or you can drop EMPs, snipe the observers, and basically take a fight where all your ghosts are immune to damage. And the nukes force the Protoss player to attack into you, which is exactly what I'm doing here. So I nuke from a defensive position. You can see my army is totally spread out. And I'm basically saying, like, I'm here. If you want to fight, we can fight, but we're fighting on my terms.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, when you're in the position, Puck, and you're going up against the nukes, what is your course of action? Obviously, we're seeing you trying to hunt down where the ghosts are in this situation, but on an average day where things are going to go your way, what's the best way for you to deal with a nuke?
Probably tucking up the Tempest, actually, I would think.
Why Tempest?
Because you can snipe the ghost from far away. Or it's really hard to say. Like, if you can force the attention off the Terran player right away, and then actually go for an engagement and actually get your storms off, then it's much easier. Because it's like, if I go up right now and I'm not doing anything anywhere else, he's gonna easily be able to EMP or snipe my Templar, because he'll have more range and vision than I do. So it's like I'd have to force something on his side of the map before I actually take my engagement, so he doesn't see where all my Templar are right away. So other than that, like, going up this right now is almost suicide unless you're like the best Korean Protoss ever, because EMPs, man, going up that ramp and then getting EMP'd on that.
Yeah, so watch. Basically, this is him being forced to attack into me if he wants to prevent me from nuking him more. And you can see I have scans. He doesn't have observer. You can see the EMPs go down. Like, the Colossus getting EMP'd is a huge deal because they go down so quickly. And my army was so far back. Like, he just wasn't going to win that fight if he kept going.
Now, what is a way that he could have forced you into an engagement, Kevin? That would have, I guess, pulled you back like this, but would have put you on the back foot.
Right. So taking the aggressive position on the map is a way to get rid of the pressure, but it can be a little tricky because Puck brought up a good point, which is that if either player does not have sufficient attention to the fight, they will lose the fight. And that's basically like, if Terran doesn't hit EMPs and cloak their ghosts and scan and snipe observers, and their army is clumped, they're going to die to just A-move Storm.
Right.
And the same thing is true for Terran player. If he's not paying attention to his army, and let's say I EMP everything he has, I can just spread my units out, A-move, and I will win the fight. And so that's the reason that I leave this ghost here and continue to nuke him when he's active on the map. Probably I should have left more units or been a little more aggressive, The other thing here, though, is that it's actually a little bit dangerous for him to be this far out on the map because he doesn't have a ton of storms. And once the storms are gone, he won't be able to hold the position any longer. And you can basically see what happened. Like, he's got 2 storms left, and now it's too risky to stay that close to my base. And he's forced to back up.
So, is this a map where you normally put down this planetary fortress?
This is a thing that you do in every late game TVP. It doesn't matter what map it is, you have to have a aggressively placed planetary fortress.
It helps a lot. Because like the Colossus won't chase the bio, it'll attack the planetary fortress. Along with like a lot of other units. It also, like, if you're sitting like behind the planetary fortress with your whole entire bio army, and then the Protoss goes in to attack, and they move too quickly, all of the Zealots will like waste their charge on the planetary.
Yeah. It's I think in terms of defense, it's probably worth like 30 supply.
Okay.
And so it allows you to hold a base with way, way less than you need to. It opens up opportunities to be like, I didn't need to bring my entire army back to defend if the PF had already been done. I could have had some aggression going out on the map and still been safe. I paused it because this highlights one of the other big uses of nukes, which is breaking photon cannons. Photon cannons defended by Storm and Colossus can be pretty tricky to deal with. You can't really cloak your ghosts. You're forced to commit a decent amount of units to kill the cannons, and then those units get stormed, and it can be annoying. But if you just drop a nuke, you force the Protoss once again to attack into you if he wants to keep it from happening. And that's basically what I do here.
Kaboom.
In this case, I think I knew there was a 5th, so I decided to just move and go kill that.
QXC map hacker confirmed.
Yeah, that seems very likely.
Today I learned you can lift Vikings into medevacs.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's annoying.
The base on the right side would be easier to take.
Yeah, I think so. Because then you only have to control...
Yeah.
Well, you basically would never launch an attack through this way if you take that base, but this little choke here is easier to defend. You just photon cannons and storm behind it.
I think I just
but this is you can see I'm denying him mining time, and more importantly, I'm once again drawing his attention to my nukes, and that's going to open up opportunities here for me to be aggressive. So he's committing a significant portion of his army to deal with this threat. And this is a long-range threat. Without nukes, I could not have an army on this left side of the map and threaten this base. And that allows me to pull his army very far out of position so that something like this run-by here, actually becomes possible. And of course he backs up, and then I back up, but then my nukes can continue to pressure that base.
Damn it, Rainer! And
you can see...
Is she playing Heroes of the Storm?
Yeah, she's playing Heroes. You can see because of the amount of multitasking that was going on here, so he moved his probes away, and then he moves his army here, and then I do this little run-by, and then he defends the run-by. These probes...
I just forgot that Kevin was casting.
Actually stop mining for like 45 seconds or a minute, like much longer than they needed to not be mining for. And that all has to do with the fact that defending nukes and dealing with nukes is primarily an attention-based thing. So the more stuff, the harder it is.
No!
What?
I'm just watching the nuke come down. I thought it was going to hit more.
No. There's only one, like, really big nuke in this game, I think. This is a better illustration of how you can control the pace of the game using nukes, rather than actually
just
blowing
explosions.
up. Yeah. Because, I mean, if you nuke a base and you actually kill, like, all 20 probes, that's enough usually to just win the game. But that's unlikely to happen unless you're playing someone who's bad, asleep, or who you're actually like doing a lot of multitasking. And that's why I really want to focus on the fact that nukes are an attention-based attack, and so when you use them, they will not be effective against, in most cases, unless you're also doing lots of things to occupy your opponent's attention. So there's some more drops, whatever. Once again, nuking this base. This is one of the least effective nukes because there's nothing else happening. You can see his army way out of position. Like, this whole alley is wide open.
So if you'd been up there, it could have been a...
Because I had the tower as well.
So the point I was about to make is that because he has these two vision points, he knows there's no threat coming. And so he's able to commit all of these units over there. But as soon as I control the watchtower, or I get rid of this Dark Templar here, he's taking a big risk by moving out like that. Or he has vision of where my army is, and he knows he can't. But this is a good example of, like, you can't just nuke, because your opponent will be able to deal with it without too much trouble. And a big part of that was, I guess I got distracted because I was doing a lot of expanding or whatever. But super, super important when you nuke, you gotta do other things. You don't need to do like 100 things, but you need to have at least one other major point of attention that you're grabbing your opponent to really optimize the effectiveness.
Right. Now, do you have a map that's your favorite to use nukes against Protoss? Is this one of them?
It's just when the games go long, so that tends to happen on this map more than most other maps. It could happen on Overgrowth as well. So this was a fight.
Storm.
Yeah, that fight didn't go well for me. But we're not really. That's not really the focus of the replay here. We're not talking about why Puck crushed me in that fight. The big thing that I want to point out at this point, so Puck literally just killed my entire army. He's got a ton of Colossus. I had no Vikings left. I had no real anything. And 2 supply was enough to basically take away his entire attention so that he didn't end up counterattacking me or killing any of my bases.
Right.
I want to argue that 3-sided attack was because of the planetaries everywhere.
Yeah, but you could have swung down here with that army and killed that PF.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. The ghosts definitely helped, for sure.
Maybe you don't push for the win here, but you could definitely have killed some of my bases on the left side. And if nothing else, you could have at least taken map control or established map awareness. This one ghost with the nukes basically consumed your attention because you're so worried about losing probes, and rightfully so. Because if you lose 27 probes at this point in the game, like, you're going to lose because you have no economy. But the nuke is a great low supply defensive tool, and it's not defensive in that, like, oh boy, I'm going to nuke his entire army. It's defensive in that, every time he attacks me, I'm going to try and nuke him so that he can't focus all of his attention on attacking me. It's the same kind of idea. Every time Terran moves out, Zerg sends some Lings into the natural to force... they're trying to get kills, but more importantly, they're making it really hard for the Terran player to split against Banelings because they have to look back at their natural and commit units and things like that. And a similar idea applies here.
So is there a coup de grace nuke?
Yeah. Yeah, there is. I'm surprised Puck agreed to do this.
He's a good sport.
I wanted to hear your opinions. I've been struggling with PvT anyways. Nice to hear what you have to say.
Cool. So the ghosts are basically done for now, and because it takes a long time to rebuild after you lose your entire army, so I've tried to do like a lot of little bits of harass to keep him off my side of the map while I get my army supply up. And so I did a drop in the main, I was nuking that left side base, and then this is kind of the last move out, the last major motion on the map. And once again, I'm going to use nukes as a zoning mechanism and also as a way to basically punish my opponent for attacking into me. So this is going to be one of the more army-based nukes. So basically, I establish a good position right now. So I control the ground path that he would have to take in order to defend these topside bases. So if he wants to not lose these bases, he has to fight me. I immediately drop a nuke on the path that I know he's going to be coming from, and I'm basically saying, you can come this way, but you will get nuked. And this has two effects. One is, nuclear launch detected. He might have to be worried about, like, well, is the base getting nuked? Am I going to lose probes if this nuke goes off? He might not recognize right away that the nuke is actually in the path. And right now it's super time sensitive. If he hesitates even for a moment, I can just walk up and kill all these bases. So I don't know if you saw the nuke in this position. Puck?
That was really sad. I did not see the dot.
Okay.
Well, so yeah. And I assume you didn't hear the warning because no units were in the vicinity when you launched it.
No, you always hear the warning, no matter. Yeah. But a lot of the times, what will happen is you won't process the warning. If you're really focused, it's like someone talking to you when you're reading something. You know that something was said, but you don't really hear it, and that can happen a lot in StarCraft as well. And so that's basically, I take a strong position, I drop a nuke as a zoning mechanism, and this is kind of, he calls my bluff / doesn't actually know that it's happening because of all the stuff that he has to deal with all of a sudden, and then the game ends.
Game.
It was really sad.
So I actually have a couple questions for you, QXC. Sure. A little bit off of the topic of nukes specifically, but first of all, looking at production facility, I think I only saw you had maybe 10 barracks running.
Yeah, standard late game, like end game TVP, I think is right around 10 barracks and 3 starports.
Okay.
Before that point, before you actually get like a solid economy, where you start maxing or like staying maxed, it's more like 7 barracks, 2 starports. But you usually don't go much above 10. Even like 8 or 9 is kind of enough in most cases.
Okay. 1 second. I have what everyone's been waiting for in the chat.
What's up?
Stebbin.
Wait, what?
No, not you. Other Stebbin.
This is where it gets confusing.
This is where we can stick to StarCraft names. All right, so yes. 10 racks, 3 starports. Shh. Sorry.
Should take this.
The big dog is named Huck. He's a big blind bastard, and his parents are gone, so he's very uppity every time he hears the door go. But they won't be home for a week, so sorry about that. Steven's taking a sweet time to answer the call. So I think my other question was probably completely not important since I'm a Gold League scrub and can't think of a good question. So I'll see if there's anything on the Reddit thread while we wait for this. Puck, did you have any like final thoughts after the game? Did you watch the replay and have any thoughts on it?
I mean, I thought it was pretty well played by QXC. Like, I was expecting it to go on a mineral line, and by the time I recognized what was going on, it was too late to back off. I mean, I felt like there's a lot of opportunity around 23 minutes for me to really make my stance in the game, but I kind of just stood back a little too much. I was just not aggressive enough that game at all, really, and I just let QXC do what he wanted.
Sorry. Yeah. So, I guess as far as that, preparation for the next season coming up, are you feeling? Are you practicing harder? Are you working on anything in particular?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I got new parts for my computer. I put that all together yesterday. And I found out one of my RAM sticks has gone bad and had to order RAM, so I'll get that tomorrow. But like, I can play StarCraft without that, no problem. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be practicing really hard today, tomorrow, and then I'm gonna kick Tarchi's ass.
I think you just
should be
Sounds good. I support you.
Shit.
Thank you.
Guitar Cheese has always been someone who kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
I
He hasn't
got distracted.
He hasn't ever done
That's
anything to me. He just seemed like somebody that I want to see lose.
That will happen, but
Good.
All right, Steven, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, everyone's
Whatever
been
your
asking
hair.
for you.
I shaved it off for money.
Really? That's cool.
Did you use it to pay your bills?
No, my bills are paid. What the fuck?
Oh my god.
That
I saw
dirty
you did
streaming
that.
money, though.
I saw you did
Oh,
that
God.
joke overlay. That was so funny.
Oh God! All right, so I do want to address that. Let me finish the. I did want to bring that up again. I don't want to go heavy on the drama,
Wait, who won between Puck and QXC? Wait, I know who won. QXC, my boy. You smashed this pro shit, right?
So
What we
weird.
did was watch one replay, but
Oh, fuck, never mind.
yeah.
No, I'm just-
we're just talking about. It was like a lesson on nuking in TVP.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So since I joined late as fuck, obviously I missed some stuff. What I'm curious for. You guys might have already gone over this. Do you think that do you think TVP has kind of come back towards the center, or do you think that TVP like past like 10 minutes still like grossly favors the Terran?
You mean so? There's like the mid game where
Uh-huh.
Terran is generally has more control, more like ways to do what they want, and then it gets to the late game, and then usually Protoss has a bit more control.
Gotcha. I felt like there was a period of time though, where like it seemed like it was impossible. Like a mid-game Terran just had so many different things that they could do in terms of constant pressure with medevacs and like you fuck up like your positioning on like one part of your Protoss army and the Terran is like running in and fucking shit up. It seemed like it was really really hard for Protoss to win against Terran. Like I don't know, maybe like a couple months ago. I haven't watched any games too
So-
recently. If you felt like that came back towards the center, or if it's still like that, or
I'm just gonna
Hmm.
make this solo push.
I don't know, man. My TVP's been doing pretty well. I've got some like really abusive builds that people don't seem to know how to deal with.
gotcha. I mean standard QXC, right?
But I think the Protosses in general have gotten a lot better against like the mass medevac style and things like that.
Okay.
All right. So, anything else about the TVP?
Yeah, the animation went off, but the healing didn't happen.
Nope. All right. So, with that, let's bring up for a minute. Let's talk about the streaming and all that other crud that was coming up on Reddit. First, I guess we'll talk about the bills and stuff. So this is my perception on it, and I'll throw it to you, Steven, because you had the pretty funny joke stream about it, but pretty funny and lucrative, by the way. I wish every time I made a smart ass joke on stream, I made $1,500 from it.
Yeah, sure.
So, I guess, we all know streamers provide a service. The service is entertainment. We like to watch them. We enjoy it. If you like them, there are people who donate because we understand that streaming it by itself is not an incredibly lucrative way to go about it, especially if you're not one of the top streamers. So with that, we have the option to donate. And these people have set up their PayPals. They allow us to donate. And many of us are very happy to do it. We also do it through subscribers and all that other bullcrap. So do you think that playing, I guess, the way that it's laid out on Caitlin's stream, the way you did it the other day, do you think that that there's something wrong about doing it that way? Because we all know that's what it's going to be used for. We all know that the money donated is to continue streaming, paying bills, and all that.
This is like a really complicated thing. I don't necessarily think it's wrong. I used to have. There's another streamer. I don't know. Are you familiar with Hafu or It's Hafu or whatever?
Very not.
Hearthstone?
Yeah, she used to do League, Hearthstone. I think she originally got big on WoW. We had so many great conversations on this. I wish I would have recorded it. It seems like with the way that streaming tends towards these days, and it seems like every medium, the more mainstream and commercialized it does, we kind of tend towards these paradigms where like profit is like maximized as much as possible, and other things kind of fall to the wayside. The comparison that I've used with streaming is it seems like it kind of seems like we've moved towards this I don't know, like for TV, like, how reality TV has taken over every single TV channel, like the Discovery, the History, the Learning Channel, every single channel, MTV is all reality TV shows now, right? Like almost exclusively, like it's crazy. Have you noticed that? Do you watch TV or?
A little bit.
Nope.
Okay, well, It has. We've moved from an area where like we would used to like produce like write and produce like actual programs to now you've got reality TV, which is very easy to do. It's very formulaic. It's very low budget. And it's very high profit, right? So the margins are huge on that kind of stuff. It's like the low effort, low quality, like massive fucking money generating cash cows for all these stations. When I look at streaming, it kind of seems like I don't know, like I've always cared a lot about like presentation of stream quality. Like for my tournament, I was really big on like all of the art and the graphics. Mini did all of that work, and I thought it was beautiful. It was minimalistic. It looked nice, or minimalist. It looked nice. It was very concise. Like I'm really big on that. And when I look at a lot of streams today, it seems like we've tended towards this like every stream has like this overlay with like 50 billion pieces of information on it. It's like it clutters the screen as fuck. I don't know, like it. I mean, like, I'm speaking like it's like an objectively bad thing, but it's just something that kind of, it rubs me the wrong way. I can't really put it into words. Do you ever watch streams like Phantom Lord?
No, I've never seen his stuff.
Okay, I feel like that's like a really good example. Phantom Lord used to be like a really big League of Legends streamer, and he was like, without being too arrogant, I would compare him to me, right? Where he did like a lot of funny stuff, a lot of shouting. He was pretty good at the game, never professional tier, but he was always like pretty good, like semi-professional level at League of Legends and just funny shit. And like his stream has tended towards this thing where it's like every other stream, it seems like every time I turn on it, at least he's drinking, he's doing like the stream viewer giveaways, he's doing like the case openings for donations. We've got like the sub trains are going, oh, sub train up to 250. There's like the biggest donor of the day, the biggest donor of the month, the biggest donor of the week, the biggest donor of the hour, like all of this shit like all over the fucking screen, like past like I don't know, like I feel like at some point it's like, oh my god, like it feels like it feels like the streams have turned into Skinner boxes where it's like push this button to give money and feel good about yourself. Like, oh god, if I donate right there, I push the button and I get like a little bit of cum, jerks out of my dick. Like I feel so good because I know 5,000 people see me give money.
Okay, all right.
It seems like a lot of streams have like turned into that.
But do you think that part of it is transparency? I mean, we know that we're giving you money, and it's part of it is like, look, this is exactly what I'm spending it on. You think there's anything wrong with that?
I mean, I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with it. I just don't know, like if you're watching my stream, right? Like screen real estate is important. Like you've only got so much space on the screen to show what you want. So like, what do I want on the screen? Like I want my gameplay on there, right? Because it's kind of important. I want my webcam on there because people like to see the fucking face for whatever reason. And I want my sponsors on there. For like extra information, like where does the money go? Like blah, like stuff like that. Like you could put that on a website. You could have a link to that. You can put it in chat. Like, I don't know. I feel like when you have all this shit that clutters up the screen, it's like, while I'm watching, like say like Winter, like if I'm watching Winter, like going to like Grandmaster and he gets his game, like, do I really also need to see like the biggest pylons of the day, like up on the screen and shit like that? I don't know. Like I feel like it gets like really cluttery.
So wait,
but I mean it works. Like a lot of people looked at what I did on stream. A lot of people looked at what I did on stream and they're like, oh, like it's really funny that you're satirizing all these other streamers. I mean, kind of, but it's also it also makes fun of the viewers too, because I mean you can make a lot of money doing it, like I mean,
So, all right. So, first of all, so the biggest larva, that's not like a regular thing on your stream?
No, I don't know. None of that, no. Even Roddy, I didn't realize it was actually Rotterdam at the time until Nathaniel told me yesterday. Even Rotterdam tier 4 sub because he wanted to be the biggest larva. I didn't know it was actually him, though, in chat. I thought it was like a...
So, I honest to God, I thought, when I saw the Be My Biggest Larva, I thought that was you. I genuinely thought that was a thing you do on a regular basis. Okay, so
I love. I'm just gonna. When I clicked on that link and I saw the screenshot, like you have like the normal things like groceries, and then it was like taxes, like mortgage, like
child support was the best. Yeah. Child support. Okay, all right. Anyway, I mean PengWin, little more neutral player in this field. You think that you'd have a problem with one of your players up there saying this is exactly what we're using our money for, or you think that saying that's not a problem, put it in a different place. We want you to focus on the stream. I guess what is your perception of the situation? Do you feel it's bad, or just them trying to be transparent and nothing really too much to get hyped about?
Well, I don't think there's a problem with it. Like I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think like if people are willing to watch streams that have all that shit plastered on it, then okay. But like personally, if I'm watching a stream and I can't see shit about the game because the whole screen is just text and shit, like doesn't really appeal to me. I'm probably not gonna watch that stream. But I mean, obviously for some people it doesn't affect their viewer numbers that much. So I mean, if it works, I don't think there's anything like fundamentally wrong with it. It's not something that I personally would enjoy having in a stream that I'm watching.
I think it feels very like the parallel that Steven drew to reality TV shows is it feels like a very cheap way, a very like cheap, unprofessional way to just get money from people. And I don't know.
To bring the other side of this up, let me bring the other side of this up. Because I presented my side in QXC, I guess it sounds like QXC kind of agrees with me. It sounds like PengWin kind of agrees with me. So let me present the other side, because it's very easy to look at stuff like this and go like, God, these streamers are so fucking unprofessional. Why doesn't everybody just turn this shit off? Okay, so the day that I did it, right, I literally made like almost $2,000 in an hour. Okay, so like the big, like I'm not exaggerating. So the big reason why people do that is because for some people, because like it's easy to look at my stream and be like, oh yeah, like Caitlyn, you're such a dumb fucking bitch. Why do you have that shit on your screen? Like, why can't you be cool like Destiny, you know? Well, if you don't have, 3,000, 4,000 viewers, what you have to do is you have to aggressively monetize the viewer base that you have. And yeah. the Skinner box-esque approach to that stuff where you reward people for donating by putting their name on the screen and shit like that, it does work, right? There was a period in time where I was getting like anywhere from, I want to say like 4,000 to 5,000 viewers in StarCraft 2, and Hafu was getting about, I want to say she would get about like 1,000 to 1,500 viewers in League, and she made more money than I did because she did the donation thing consistently. Like every month she was making more money than I did. So like it's one of those things where it's really easy to look at it and be like, God, this is so bad. Your presentation is done. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're such a sellout, blah, blah, blah. But on the other hand, there's a lot of streamers that wouldn't be able to stream. They wouldn't be able to support themselves without that kind of without that kind of incentive to donate. And even if you are somebody that can make a living off of it, it might be the difference between, do I want to make 40,000 this year, or do I want to make 70,000 this year? Like, that extra $30,000 might be like nice, and it might be worth, is it a little bit selloutish? Yeah, sure. But if I can put that on my stream and I can literally bring in that much more money, like, it's really, really hard to say no to that kind of stuff,
So I think the reason I don't really like it,
that's okay.
and this isn't like, oh my god, other people shouldn't use it, is I just, in my ideal world, I want the Twitch streams with the best gameplay to also get the highest number of viewers and to bring in the most money. Like, that's how I want it to be, and that's not how it works. And so that's why I don't dislike Winter as a person, but it bothers me a little bit that he has found the formula for attracting lots of viewers, and he gets the stream money, even though he's bad.
But he also brings in a lot of people to the community.
Yeah, sure, but
but then, like, let's be real now.
I'm a pro gamer. I want the pro gamers to get everything in all regards.
Sure, but
that's my bias.
How do you feel about me? How do you feel about me getting 6,500 viewers grilling Livy B on stream though about whether or not she was boosted? Like, this is like the ultimate in irrelevancy, right? Because I didn't even make NAWCS. Livy B is, questionably GM, right? And then fucking 6,500 viewers, and then you've got people like 4GG that I think who's like the most successful pro gamer streamer who gets like maybe 1,500, I think, when he's doing really well.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't work the way that I would wish it does. And
sure,
that's reality. And I guess when it's comparing specific people, it's just how good of a relationship do I have with them. I know you, Destiny. We've hung out a number of times. I know you're not total trash at this game. And I don't know Winter.
Thanks.
So I'm biased against him. That's really that's really what it is.
Okay, so I guess we can move past the streamer drama. I think we hashed out both sides. I don't think it's a horrible crime to do it. I think we're all agree that just kind of irks some people. I think a lot of people had an extreme overreaction to it on Reddit, but there's always that vocal minority. So let's move a little bit now. I guess the week before, just last week with Kane on here, we talked about how things are handled. People going straight to Reddit, straight to Twitter with an issue. And we all know, and Kane, if you're watching, he was going to be on, but
didn't he do like exactly what we were saying?
Right. So let's talk. Now Kane was going to come on, but he's practicing for WCS, so I'm not talking about this without him just because he's welcome to come on right now if he wants to.
He's very busy. He's got a big match to prepare for, guys.
For
Wait,
those,
who's he playing?
he's playing QXC.
I think we should just stay bottom. And keep
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you'll beat him.
They have
So,
nine on-
all right. So with that, Kane made a comment. He made it on Liquipedia. He said he said don't worry, Naniwa will be booted into retirement in no time. Naniwa tweeted a very tasteless response and immediately deleted it. But the internet being the internet, screenshots were already made. Kane tweeted it out, and he was talking to me while he did it. And before I could say, I don't think this might not be the best idea, there it was. And then I said, okay, I give it 3 minutes before it's on Reddit, and it was on Reddit in a minute. So,
and that's exactly what we were talking about.
Yes.
Because
Well, just basically,
I'm pretty
not
sure-
about.
I think Kane was like, I felt like all of this was really tongue in cheek. Am I wrong?
what do you mean?
Yeah, kind of. But like, I feel like another thing that I don't know, like, I just feel like this whole thing was like the thing that we kind of touched on this earlier at the very beginning of the show, like QXC and I, but like the whole idea that like some people on Reddit, like surprisingly many people on Reddit, seem to think like that Naniwa coming back with a thing about like, oh yeah, I hope you lose your other leg is okay, is like, I just think that's so stupid that people think that's okay.
I agree. I think Naniwa even realized it was. He deleted it right away.
Yeah, like I was talking to Maddles a little bit about it, and like Maddles is a Paralympic athlete. Like he's also like has some physical disabilities, and like he was so offended by that tweet. Like he was also just like absolutely really mad at everyone on Reddit who said that who just like thought that it was fine that Naniwa said that. It's like it's basically the equivalent of being incredibly racist in return for something that honestly, like, Kane's comment was pretty stupid and it was offensive as well. Like, I'm not saying that what
It's
Kane
kind of
said
grounded
is not offensive.
in a little bit of reality, though, of like things that could conceivably happen to Naniwa. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
well,
not-
it is grounded in reality. He was booed off stage. That's how his retirement happened.
Yeah.
Like, but the other thing is also just like the idea that people are like, some people were like, oh yeah, like you got like Kane punched Naniwa and like isn't okay with getting punched back. Like, no, it's more like Kane punched Naniwa and then Naniwa pulled out a shotgun and like blew his head off. Like that's also
You can't-
that's a
but this
pretty
is, like-
bad escalation.
Naniwa is like, I'm pretty sure like if I were to go to school, okay, in like 8 years, come back with like a PhD in like psychiatry or whatever, I'm pretty sure Naniwa, I could diagnose him with like grade A fucking
Yeah,
Asperger's.
probably.
He's like the last person in the world that like I would ever say anything. Well, I mean, I don't care because I personally, but like Nanny was the kind of person where like I would say something to him like, "Wow, how's Protoss the overpowered race?" And he would say something to me like, "Wow, I hope your kid dies in a fucking car accident, you piece of shit." Like he would do something like that, right? Because like Nanny was proven time and time again that he is not capable of like understanding like the shit, how fucked up the shit that he says.
All right.
Like, how do you say that to Kane? Like, lose your other leg? Like
It's the
you're
equivalent
something.
of just being incredibly racist.
Okay, hold on. First of all, for the chat, we got hosted by Base Trade TV. That's why we have a bunch of new viewers, not view botting. Second of all, for you who have never been here before, because there's a lot of you, welcome. This is the late game. It's a show. Destiny is co-host. We're doing this shit. Now we're talking late Reddit drama. We did a whole bunch of StarCraft 2 talk before this. I'm sorry you missed it. The VOD will be up tonight. Back to this racist comment.
Racist.
Go ahead, Penguin.
Well, equivalently racist. Like,
Racist
Kane
because
has
people who
no-
only have one leg.
Well, like Kane. My point is, Kane has no control over the fact that he lost a leg when he was a kid. Like the same way as like black people have no control over the fact that they're black. Like, it's not okay to make fun of somebody for that, and like, it's not okay to respond to something that is actually like a comment that's actually grounded in Naniwa's past actions. Like, I'm not saying that what Kane said is fine. Like, it's fucking stupid. Like, why would you say that on a public forum? Like, I feel like both of them should probably be punished from WCS.
They should
not
probably
with like a
I
T-suit,
mean,
but-
can you really? I'm trying not to take
But
sides
it's
here.
in
'Cause
the
I
rules,
fucking
though. Like-
I hate Naniwa, but like let's be real. Like he fucked up so bad with that getting booed off. Like everything that he did in that last day was like so fucking stupid. Like he has to know that like how can you be that fucking, and he was like indignant as fuck about it and like cocky and arrogant, and it's like, I mean, I think I don't want to say like, no, I mean, I think it's fair to take shots at that, right? The same way that I'm pretty sure I don't have logs, but I'm pretty sure people took shots at Naniwa for like the fucking 6 Pro brush that he did against what, like Nesty at one of the GSLs like fucking 3 years ago, or it might not have been a GSL. Yeah, right. Like he does like stupid fucking shit like that. Like there's a difference between like, I think that it's fair to call him out on that, or to kind of make jokes about that on Twitter maybe. Like I think that that's fair game. Like it's related to what we're all doing. It's related to StarCraft. It's relevant. It's fucking something that he made a conscious decision to do it. He's always been indignant and relatively unapologetic about it. Like I think that it's okay to take a shot at it. But then for him to like come back with like a PengWin or QXC said with a fucking shotgun, like
like I feel like
shit.
It's the opposite equivalent would be if Naniwa said something like, Kane has no tournament accomplishments at premier events, and then Kane responded with, yeah, well, Naniwa has grade A autism, fuck that guy. Like,
sure, exactly.
People wouldn't be okay with that. Like, they should
or like
be okay
Maximus Black calling him out on Twitter, and like Naniwa tweeting back, like, did MLK really die for you to say this shit to me on Twitter? Like, that's like really fucked. Like, you're going way too far. Like, you need to tone it back.
Wait, did that happen? Or
No.
No, but I'm saying like that's what it would be like. Like
that's
just
the type of escalation. I was like, because I can totally imagine Naniwa saying that.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you just come up with that on the fly, or had you mentally thought of that situation already?
Oh, I got into a fight with Maximus Black on Twitter a couple days ago, and I had like 4 million different stingers that I thought of. Racist, so I figured I could just like sneak them in later.
Oh god damn! All right. Oh, that was a good. Anyway. All right, so with that, we kind of hashed out now what happened. What about the way it was done? I don't like it. I don't like the Kane as he's doing it. I didn't feel comfortable with how he went with posting it. Do you think that he should have messaged him privately and said, "Hey, I think that was a pretty dick move of you," or do you?
But like, that's not what this is about. It's never about that.
It's never about what it looks like.
Yeah, it's always about making other people feel your pain.
Is this some Fight Club shit?
It's never about, like, the only time I would see somebody, like, where it's like, yes, something happened and these two people are actually going to resolve it privately, would be, like, 2 people that are actually friends with each other and one of them fucks up and does something. And they're like, I'm pretty good friends with Harstem. If Harstem said, like, we were playing a tournament match, I beat him, he beat me, whatever, like, someone throws out some BM, like, I wouldn't go to Twitter with that shit. Because I'm not trying to destroy the relationship I have with him. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to turn people against him. Like, I just want to clear the air and be friends with him again. Like, Kane and Naniwa aren't friends. They don't give a fuck about each other. Like, if somebody says something, they don't want to, clear the air privately. They want other people to hate them.
Right.
That's what, like, all this drama shit is about. Like, the stuff with Livy B, like, nobody gives a fuck. Livy B, like, being in GM legitimately or not, like, whatever, like, that doesn't affect anyone. What people are mad about is, like, this person supposedly getting attention and resources that they don't deserve, and they feel wronged by it. Mm-hmm. And so they don't want to, like, figure out the truth. They just want everyone to fucking hate her.
I just know with my personal experience with Kane is that if he feels someone gets extremely angry at the game, he's not afraid to go all of his way and try to make their life more miserable by harassing them in-game under Smurf names or whatever it may be.
Wait, does Kane really do that?
Yeah, all the time.
He's not the kind of guy to go fire cake style and, like, tell you to die of cancer, but he will, like, take jabs at you in-game and shit, yeah.
Kane always seems like such a friendly guy. Is this like, is there like a hidden life of Kane that I...
He doesn't.
That I don't know about. Does he have like this dark mask that he puts on at night?
He's not doing it to make people like feel like trash. He's doing it because he thinks it's funny, which is pretty Kane. Like Kane is a pretty big troll. Like it's not surprising, but
like
he's a nice guy. But in game he can be.
Skype Kane is nicer than in-game Kane, is what I've heard.
The thing that bothers me the most is like people like me, Naniwa, whoever he doesn't like he'll instantly block them on every single platform available, and then he'll continue to smurf or like snipe you on Smurf names and just talk about shit. and then you can't reply to him to try and like end it.
Fuck, what did you do to him, man?
I feel like
I've
we
never heard
need
of him
Kane
feud
on
this
here to
much.
like represent himself.
I did.
This is like the court of Huck. This is what we needed for. Now I wanna...
Is Huck actually gonna do that? It seemed like it got a pretty big response.
Nah, I think it was just a temporary thing.
All right.
There's too many drama droughts where there's no drama going on for too long.
Dude, this week was crazy. So with there was with Steven, you talked to Livy B. I watched that this afternoon. And the one thing that kind of seemed to be the crux of her not being not dropping down was that barcode not being hers. But I saw someone post today, and I asked for a response, and they said, barcode was proven to be hers. Any word of that actually happening, or is that just some guy being a dick?
She admitted the barcode was hers. This isn't like I don't really care about this that much, so I don't want to become like the face of like destroying Livy B, which it seems like it kind of happened the other day. Like this is I don't know. She's under the impression that I talk about this a lot. I think I've mentioned this like 4 times at the most over like the past, not even like 2 or 3 times maybe at the most, like in the hundreds of hours that I've streamed over the past like month or two. Like I don't want to be like the face of this, so somebody else can take this up.
Well, okay, so I mean, if she admitted to it, we can get that, move past it. Watch Destiny's interview with Livy B. There, someone posted a link to it. It's on his VODs, and you can check out the information there, form your own opinion. I think that really covers it for the drama stuff. I don't think there's really anything to get into. The point with the last conversation was whether or not people should go about it privately or in person. But like QXC said, it's not about that with these people. These people aren't friends doing it. These are people that want everyone else to feel their pain or to just hate the person they've been fighting with. Steven, we talked a little bit about WCS, so we're going to backtrack for a minute. And I just want to ask, with your WCS qualifier, how'd you feel after? What were your thoughts on it?
It was nice seeing you.
What were you asking?
Steven.
What were you asking? Wait, what?
Oh, God. All right,
True feelings, thoughts, WCS.
On your run through WCS, I mean,
fuck Zerg. That's my thoughts.
Is it fuck playing against it?
Oh, I don't know. My ZVZ is fucking garbage tier. I couldn't do it. I was losing to everybody. Fucking mid-masters and I would grind games, but I just couldn't do it. I'm probably the best ZVZ player in the world up until like the fights happen and I just throw every single fucking game. Like it's absolutely insane. Like every single game I would play with Cats, or like he would be watching me and she'd be like, "Oh, you're in a really good spot. You're in a really nice. You got a good drone lead." Oh, okay. Well, that just happened. Yeah, and I would throw every single game. I don't know. I ended up going out to I think Sir Robin. So I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I saw a few of your practice streams, and it seemed that ZVZ was the one that you were having trouble with. Though, how'd you feel playing against Minigun after you were just streamed playing? What's it called? You're playing Minigun right after streaming against Kifun or whatever his name is.
It really doesn't affect people like me, or even people like Minigun, because like I've got a very predictable style. Like most people know what I'm gonna do. I don't really mix it up too much, so it's not like it's nobody's gonna watch like me play a tournament game like, oh okay, Destiny plays standard boy macro style, I'm gonna fuck him up now. Like it doesn't really like affect me that much. Like maybe he plays like a little bit greedier, but Minigun's always been a pretty safe player. Like even when he's playing greedy, like he doesn't. There's not like any like 6-minute third nexus shit going on. So
the only thing that I thought is one of the things they were calling about is the lack of harassment from Kifun. While you're doing the swarm host style, not going around your army and all that. And it seemed that was a heavy focus of Minigun's play against you. So I didn't know if that's Minigun's style normally. I don't know if QXC or Puck.
Minigun's a really good macro player, and if he's playing against Minigun is like Minigun's like power level, like DBZ style is like determined by the person that he plays. Like if he knows you and he feels comfortable playing against you, he's played you a lot. Like he brings out like his fucking like S tier fucking amazing game, and he plays beautifully. He's fucking 250 APM harassing and all 2 war prisms, like armies everywhere, perfect control everywhere. It's only when he plays something that he doesn't feel confident against, he falls apart. He looks like a scrub tier. I don't know why. It's like a confidence thing. I think Minigun would admit that. Like it's not even like a thing, but
okay. All right.
Hey, Steven, I have a question for you. If someone like Morrow is willing to keep asking questions like, "Wait, is Puck a guy?" when I've had 0 connections with the guy in a Twitch chat, is that safe to put on Twitter?
I don't know. Morrow made WCS, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Morrow, is this the way? Is WCS really going to allow professionals to act this way in a Twitch chat?
Did he say this? I missed it. I'm trying to moderate the chat a little bit.
Saved the picture.
Oh, good job. You should have screenshotted it. Oh, yep, I see him right there.
He's like a more subtle troll.
Yeah. All right. Steven, what is this about Tinder?
Nothing.
Chat-
Can we, this is a StarCraft show, right? Can we do StarCraft?
Oh, really? You've never had a problem going off on a tangent. And earlier we had QXC go off about fucking guacamole and whether it's acceptable to make it for tacos.
We were waiting for the replay festival. We didn't have shit to do.
All right. So let's move on
Wait,
from
why
that.
did you not make guacamole?
No, wait. All right, wait. Hold on. All right.
Oh,
So
God.
no, it's coming back. So
No, it's not
fucking
coming back.
PengWin had tacos tonight, and I asked if he had guacamole, and QXC was all uppity like, you don't make guacamole for fucking tacos because you're gonna put all the shit that's in guacamole on the goddamn tacos. So I want to ask you, would you make guacamole for tacos if they were soft tacos?
Oh, well, now I don't know. If everything in the guacamole goes on the taco, it seems
Except the
kind of
avocado.
Well,
No, the
then why not just add
avocado goes in
avocado
too.
Who the fuck makes tacos with avocado?
That would be
People
pretty
who
good.
want avocado, who normally would eat guacamole, but they don't want to waste their fucking time making the guacamole. Shit is so simple.
Steven, would you make guacamole for tacos?
I listen, man. I fucking hate tacos. It's shitty food. Guacamole sucks shit. Everybody that likes Chipotle sucks shit. All right, we're fucking moving on.
Oh, fucking
right.
shots fired. All right, moving on. All right, we've been playing the map pool, the new map pool, for about 2 weeks now. Something like that, getting close to it. At least a week. A little over a week. 9 days. There we go. Exactly 9 days. That's more the time than we've had for the last show, so we're going to kind of revisit that topic. QXC, are there any maps that have you vetoed them and you're not playing them, or are you playing everything? If so, what are your thoughts?
I got a WCS match. I'm not fucking playing ladder.
No ladder? All right.
No.
WCS is old maps for a challenger.
Thank God, there's a reason.
All right, Puck,
I
have you been
think
playing?
there's- Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, PengWin.
I think like there's an irrational amount of hatred towards the new maps. Like I just don't think they're that bad at all. Like I feel like maybe it's just a little biased because I'm just so glad to have new maps. But I think horizontal spawns on Inferno pools isn't great, but it's far enough away that it's not a huge deal. TLO had a really cool idea about Secret Spring. Just like make the ramp from the main go down towards the third that's close by air rather than the one it's going towards. That might fix that. But like the only real problem with Secret Spring is that the third is kind of hard to take and defend, which is a bit of an issue, but it's not been as big of an issue for me as I expected. And I think Bonnie is just a really good map. And Expedition Lost is okay. I have a good win rate on it, but I don't really like the map that much.
All right, Puck, are you playing ladder or are you playing customs for WCS?
Customs, ladder, basically everything. I don't know. The new maps, I'm very iffy on. I'm actually okay with some of the maps that people would say would be like, what the crap, like other fellow Protoss players, like, for instance, let me find it here. What is it called? Secret Spring, for instance. It's like very abusable for Protoss to like abuse the middle of the map and then just like put other things on the top rocks and the bottom rocks and just get there before Zerg gets there, for instance. But like maps like Inferno Pools, I don't understand what went through Blizzard's mind to put a map like this in the map pool.
Right.
I actually know exactly. Every single map that Blizzard has ever made using that fire tile set has been fucking garbage. You notice that?
I think that Steven is alluding to the real problem here, which is that we're so used to all the new maps being terrible that when we get maps that look
No,
kind of...
Inferno Pools is legit, I think, a really bad map. But I do agree with
Penguin.
Penguin.
Really
Even-
Zerg favored.
even
Inferno
without,
Pools?
if
I
it
have
had
an
no
80%
horizontal
win rate on
spawns.
Inferno Pools.
What are you, GM?
I'm High Masters, not GM.
No, I'm just fucking with you. The only I didn't like Inferno Pools because it seemed like one thing is Blizzard needs to cut off the island expos. With in Brood War, the way they custom it is they would put minerals there, so you'd have to get a drop ship, drop an SCV, mine it, and then you could do it so the Terran can't float. I don't like that Terran can float orbital over there immediately. I don't like that. It seems like taking the gold is like a natural third for a lot of people, but like for Zerg, like you just get fucked on that cliff like over and over again. I haven't played that many games on it, so maybe I'm a little bit biased there, but I do agree that the other maps are pretty nice. I really like one of the saddest things I thought about StarCraft 2 is that like there's so much potential for really interesting maps, and I think that Secret Spring starts to explore that a little bit. Like the destructible rock thing in the middle is like that's a really strange and interesting idea, and even if it doesn't work out balance wise, I see that my win percentage on that map is only 39%. But I mean, like, even if it doesn't work out balance-wise, I think it's a cool idea. The idea of, like, trapping people. I don't know, like, when I first played this map, like, I started to get, like, crazy ideas of, like, a labyrinth of, like, destructible rocks where, like, if you fuck up and your opponent traps you in, like, an area, like, it could take a long time to get back. I don't know, shit like that I think is really interesting. Interesting ideas that haven't been explored in StarCraft 2 maps.
All right. We're going to move on now to the balance changes, and I'll link it to you guys in a second if you don't already have it, but I have it up on screen for everyone else. I got the link. I'm going to send it right now. And we're going to go over the balance changes. Specifically, the swarm host changes are being proposed to that they will implement them now. Just sent you guys the link. So they're talking about all those Legacy of the Void swarm host changes, actually making that a change now. So they're going to be moving that onto the balanced test map, I believe, next week.
Oh yeah.
And so we're actually going to try to do a show match next week on the show. So that'll kick off our show as a little show match highlighting these balance changes. So we'll see who we can get for that and all that. But anyway, so have you guys had a chance to look at this before this?
Yeah, we had a lengthy discussion in the MYI chat, but go ahead, QXC.
I'm familiar because it's all Legacy of the Void stuff.
All right, so you guys talked about it. PengWin, go ahead and kick us off on some of the, and if you can, tell us who thought of what.
It was kind of split down the middle. I personally, first off, I think this is not going to go through unless there's some big changes. Mostly my issue with the current changes the way they are is that it looks like Zerg has no way to deal with late game Protoss, because a big thing to note is that it's not just like swarm hosts are a huge part of dealing with late game Protoss. They help zone out Templar, they help do a lot of things. Some of the changes that were kind of glossed over in the first post that have been included in the second post include that swarm hosts are up to 4 supply, and they only spawn locusts every 60 seconds, which means that you have basically for at least half of the time, since locusts last 30 seconds, at least half of the time, you have so much dead supply.
Swarm hosts are really 4 supply?
Yeah, they are up to 4 supply, and the cooldown on spawning locusts is 60 seconds. So if you think about it, like a Protoss pushing out right now, they have to go through like 3 or 4 waves of locusts on like Cross Deadwing, for instance, to get to your base, and that's like the drains their storms. It slows them down. Whereas right now, it's like they deal with 1 wave of locusts. Let's say that you're playing the way you are right now. You have like 12 swarm hosts or whatever.
All the tanks.
That's 48 supply that's dead as soon as the locust wave is gone in the fight. So you really have to assume that swarm hosts are not going to be a part of the late game actual army. You have to use them basically only as harass. They'll be really good at harass, but the issue is I don't see a way to deal with late game Protoss without the swarm host. And the way the swarm host is right now, you can't deal with late game Protoss.
So, first thing is, I don't think you should be able to, you just cannot say can or can't based on reading something.
Yeah, that's also true.
Like, you have to actually try these changes. The second thing is that even though the locust, they changed so it's 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Mm-hmm. It used to be that locust had a 25-second duration after enduring locust. And so there's no enduring locust, which means that early swarm host timings can potentially be a thing, because as soon as they pop, you have 30-second locust. Also, you didn't mention the fact that they have a damage increase. So they're doing on the order of 25 to 30% more damage per second, if I remember correctly. And so I agree with the things that you're saying in that the swarm host does not have the same role. The swarm host is not like a persistent siege unit. Mm-hmm. And the swarm host may not work as an answer to endgame Protoss armies. I think all of that is true. But to dismiss the swarm host so readily, I think is premature, because you don't know what other opportunities that the change unit is going to create.
I don't think PengWin is so much dismissing it, so much as saying that, like, right now, the swarm host fills a very specific role that's needed, that no other unit seems to be able to take over, and the swarm host is moving to a different role. I don't think PengWin was saying, like, oh, it's going to suck shit at harass now or whatever. Like, I'm sure that, the swarm host is going to be able to do other things in that other role, for sure, and it might open up other timings or do other things, but taking it away from that late game role, seems like late game ZVP might be pretty difficult now. I'm not sure. I think that's what Peng was saying.
Like, I'm not saying that like swarm hosts are bad now. I'm just saying that it seems with the changes, like without testing, obviously, it seems like there's going to be a void. That there's there's nothing that I can see on paper that will fill the role that the swarm host has.
It's
right
pretty
now,
much like even if it turns out to be really good, it would be like a genie coming up to you and offering you the ability to have a 12-inch dick, and you say, hell yeah, I'll take it. But then they put it where your leg was. So like, even though it might be like a really good thing in some regards, like it's not a replacement for a leg, and like you need it in order to walk, right? As a bipedal creature, I think that the swarm host thing is the same way. Even if it does turn out to be like a sick as fuck harass unit, like there needs to be something else, I think, for the Zerg late game, because the swarm host was like the only thing that could fill that role.
So there's kind of two things there. One of them is that this change may not make sense without the rest of the legacy of the void changes. And the most relevant one is that Tempest no longer shoot air.
Oh, yeah, true. Oh, because the Brood Lords are the things that could fill the
Brood Lords would become the late game. You know, you can still disintegrate it with the Tempest, but that is pretty low range, and you can transfuse through it. And this, you know, in HOTS, the Swarm Host kind of took over the Brood Lord's role. So this change might not make sense with the Tempest Brood Lord relationship the way it is. The other thing is, Terran doesn't have a late game. Just the end. You play bio, there is no late game, and it could be, Come on, are you kidding?
No, I'm 100% true. No, what you said. I'm surprised that Blizzard hasn't like nerfed the Thor more and given another medevac buff to fix Terran. Like more mid game changes.
Terran,
to give Terran more.
I mean, it could just be that, you know, with this change in place, Zerg no longer has a late game, and that doesn't mean that the game is unplayable, but it means that your strategy is drastically different. You know, as Terran player.
I don't know so much about that though. Like, wouldn't you consider like Ghost Viking versus Protoss like to be a late game composition? Like,
no, because it doesn't beat carriers and it doesn't beat Tempest.
Yeah, and also the meat of your army is still like Marine Marauder. Like you don't have like 57 ghosts. And, like,
and guys,
Vikings on
so I did send you in the Skype chat the statistics sheet on the new Swarm host, and I have it up on screen for the viewers. So it looks like most of what you guys have said was correct. I don't think anything out of there has been misstated. But I mean, they only spawn 2 locusts, so it's what, 4 supply, 2 locusts. What is it now? 4 locusts?
2 locusts, 3 supply.
It's 2. The only actual differences in terms of like the numbers here is 4 supply from 3. The damage output per locust is increased from 15 per second to 20 per second. And probably the most interesting / like fucking what change is that Swarm hosts are 100 minerals 200 gas instead of 200 minerals 100 gas.
I didn't even notice that.
What?
And I can't really speak to like how that works for Zerg players. I feel like
that's
gas
actually huge. It makes transitioning to like Mulas or anything else like extremely impossible.
Yeah, no, that's actually, it's really a really big deal. It also hurts the gold bases. Taking golds as Zerg, sometimes you get the minerals fucking going. You could just make. If I'm playing a game and I lose like 12 swarm hosts, a lot of times I just don't give a fuck. But like, there's a big difference between 1200 gas and 2400 gas. It makes affording Vipers a lot more difficult. The fucking 35 muta out of nowhere bullshit becomes a lot more difficult, like Butt said. I think that's a pretty good change. I think I like that.
All right. What else? So Raven, point defense drone duration decreasing to 20 seconds. That's
I don't know
a huge.
If it'll be enough, but I think it's a step in the right direction. Yeah.
Don't make laddering on European not a nightmare for once, because for some odd reason it feels like half the Terrans on EU like to go for mech mass Raven crap. And
Against Protoss?
Really annoying. Yeah, for some odd reason. I never get it on NA, but on Europe I get it pretty often.
Can we be real for a moment? All of the Raven things, I'm pretty sure that one of their engineers or developers, like when they were like making these units, I think they threw in like an extra 0. Like all the Raven spells last way too fucking long. Why do auto turrets sit on the map for like 5 fucking minutes? Like, somebody can come by, auto turret kill your base, all the creep is fucking gone, and like 3 minutes later you send a drone to extend it. It was like still 50 auto turrets. Like, what the fuck? That seems really fucking weird. Same thing with PDDs too. Like, you fucking like you do a fight and then you come back like 2 minutes later. It's like, oh fuck, there's still like 2 PDDs. Why? That's so weird. I can't think of anything else in the game. Like, even Infested Terrans, I think Infested Terrans used to last a little bit longer. I could be wrong, but like even their time like is nowhere even remotely close to how long auto turrets and PDDs last. It's crazy, crazy, crazy stupid. I think the auto turret time needs to be cut by like 70-80%. Like, they should be good for a battle, in the entire battle, but they shouldn't like sit on the map as like permanent structures for like 5 minutes or whatever the crazy amount of time is. Like,
yeah, I think it'd be okay if auto turrets also had like a 20-second duration. Get rid of the extended duration upgrade, whatever. That would probably be a nice step.
Villo's like having an aneurysm right now.
I think the other thing that would be good here is Raven supply increased to 3. I think if you decrease the duration of the auto turret, the point defense drone, and increase the supply to 3, that might be sufficient to remove that type of strategy.
What's the current PDD time?
I don't know. It lasts for like
4
10
minutes,
years.
I think.
It's
very, very long.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Yeah,
Like, you don't
It's
even
gonna almost get full energy by the time it disappears.
Yeah, you don't even realize like how long it is until auto turrets last for 3 minutes, and with the upgrade they last for an extra minute, so 4 minutes. PDDs are the same thing, 180 seconds plus 60 seconds with the upgrade. It's crazy. 4 minutes.
Now PDD though, it goes down pretty quick once the energy's used up, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
no,
but
if
like-
the energy's used up, it disappears immediately, right?
Oh yeah.
No,
yeah,
no.
You have to.
No, it doesn't disappear, but it dies. Like, you can
Yeah.
kill
Oh,
it
you-
if it has no
Yeah,
energy.
yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry.
Yeah. So, all right. So I think it's a full energy PDD can take 10 hits, 10 volleys, I guess, from like a Muta or a
I think
Viking.
it's closer to 20.
Is it?
Because I want to say it's 8 energy per. But it doesn't really matter. Like, the point here is that because these abilities last so long, they create like very stagnant positions, because it's just like you have to wait a really long time before the shit goes away. And the windows of vulnerability that are supposed to exist with energy units don't exist here in the same way. It'd be like if Storm lasted for
Like
in a
20
location.
seconds.
Well, for
It
like
took,
longer
50
than
energy.
yeah, it was like it's like
So like
the
they storm and you go to attack and it's like, oh, it's still stormy here. Like, I guess the weather hasn't changed. Like, oh,
That'd be
It'd be
nice.
like
I'd like that.
PDD right now.
Template's
kinda
already
feels
got his
like-
energy back. Well,
Yeah, you cast it, and by the time the previous one is expiring, you have enough energy to cast it again, which is totally fucking wrong for energy units. The whole point of an energy unit is that it like bursts for a short amount of time, and it has this really long window where it's vulnerable and it's recovering energy. And Raven's late game, when you get like 50 of them, they don't have that at all.
All right. So I mean, these swarm host changes, that Raven change, that is theoretically coming into play before Legacy of the Void. That's what this balance map is for. And if you guys didn't see it, I think everyone here must have the video from Total Biscuit's Legacy of the Void tournament with the Nexus dying in a breath.
Yeah, that was
From-
so sick.
Steven, did you see that?
did I see what?
The video of Total Biscuit's tournament with all the locusts killing that Nexus.
Oh, yeah. We watched this last week or 2 weeks ago, didn't we?
Did we watch it on stream? I think, yeah, we might have. Puck, did you see that? It was beautiful.
No, I haven't.
That was hilarious.
It was like,
It's basically just like flying locusts come in, they land at the Nexus, and they have like just like a sliver of health of like 2 or 3 seconds, and they just like instantly kill this Nexus.
it was beautiful.
I wonder if Phoenix will be able to attack Locust while in the air.
Yeah, I mean they're flying.
I assume that any air unit's going to be able to attack them while they're in air.
Why do you say that? It's not like Phoenix can attack stuff on the ground either.
All right. So
Let's talk about the real crime here. Winter Corruptor is not going to be fucking trash. Holy shit. It's literally a flying fetus that you're just waiting for it to grow into a fucking broodlord. Like, they're so worthless. Like, Protoss have, like, the aborting void rays just, like, annihilating, like, 4 million corruptors in, like, 2 seconds. Do you know why? People don't actually know this in the matchup. In PvP, do you know why the Viper Abduct skill is so good on Void Rays, it's not because you pull them into your army and you do damage. It's because when you pull them, it makes them refocus fire on queens, so they don't like instantly disintegrate your fucking corruptors. It's such a joke how bad corruptors are.
Prismatic coat hangers align.
Oh.
All right. Well, I mean, does anyone else have input on the corruptor? Suggested. I mean,
I would much rather have a change to the corruptor than having them focus energy on Swarm Host. Like, I'd rather just have them remove Swarm Host to just focus energy on the corruptor.
Like, why can't Zerg just get an anti-air unit? That's not our macro mechanic. That's all we want. That's all we want. If you give Zerg one anti-air unit, then like fucking.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. So I think that's all the changes that are proposed on that map. They really haven't gone for any of the other changes, like the Widow Mine. It doesn't seem like that is going to happen. I mean, they didn't write it off the table. They just said that from the pro perspective, things seem to be balancing out. So I don't think that is coming into play. I think that's about it for those updates from Blizzard. I don't think I missed anything on that.
Thank you, Hello, for your video that pushed Blizzard to make these changes too.
Is he in chat saying that?
No, but he made a video. Like a day later, they released it, so it must be like causal, right? The link.
Right? I mean, yeah. I don't know. All right, so we're getting close to the end of the show. We've talked about balance changes. We revisited the map pool briefly. Talked about the drama and unnecessaries. WCS qualifier results, who we think is going to go far, who we're surprised won, and we did a little bit of nuke action, Puck and QXC. Other than that, I think we're pretty golden on thing. Last but not least thing to talk about is something cool coming from ESL. ESL, I'm going to bring up my information just so I have everything correct. I've been speaking with Element from ESL, and they are bringing a StarCraft tournament series to North America. It is not going to be Go for SC2. That is brand locked to the sponsors for Go for SC2. But it's going to be weekly, and it starts next week. I will post the links. I'll post them in a Reddit thread. I have them over here on this laptop. But it's going to be there's going to be a bronze, silver, gold cup, a platinum, diamond cup, and then an open cup. And the third link that he sent me, it's the open cup. It's a $25 cup. Now, the prizes are going to go up. They need to see growth, so this is kind of a test thing. They need to see growth in the in this tournament, people participating, and the prize pool will go up, so it's going to double. So if there's enough people, they'll double the prize pool for the next week. If it continues to grow, they're going to double it. It's going to get bigger, and it's going to get better, and I'm really excited to see this come to North America. So, I mean, players, Puck, QXC, Steven, are you guys going to participate in something like this? I guess a Gopher style tournament for North America?
It's probably not a good question for me, considering I'm planning to retire soon.
Well, that is true.
Why would you say that? What the fuck? What about Legacy of the Void?
Well, that's a long time away.
All right. What about you, Puck? You gonna play?
If I'm on at the time, probably will. Like, I have school, and then I have tournaments, and then other obligations to do as well. So, like, I can't always just be readily able to get online and just do these things.
All right. Steven, are you gonna participate?
I don't know.
All right, so
the hardest choice for me, the thing that sucks is, like, I live in the Midwest, and fucking all you fucking pieces of shit, I'm talking to you, QXC, and you fucking Puck, all of you guys fucking abandoned abandoned us in the Midwest, and you go on ladder in, like, Europe and Korea where you have these good pings, and I have fucking, like, 250 MS ping to, like, Korea and Europe, so I can't ladder on any other server. I'm stuck here like fucking rank 30 GM playing like InvaQQ kids like 7 fucking games in a row, and then like CN Protoss, who's like the only other fucking guy that ladders here. Oh my god.
Dude,
all right.
I was in Poland, your connection cannot be that bad.
It's bad. My ping is terrible. It's so bad. Like, people watch my shit. Like, I fucking, like, I'll make, like, 2 drones. Like, I'll go to send an attack force to the enemy. I'll go downstairs to take a piss, and then I'll come back upstairs, and, like, my army's finally arriving at the enemy base. Like, it's that fucking bad. It's so terrible. I feel like I'm playing Civilization. Holy shit.
All right, so with that, I mean, there's a lot of... There are the 2 younger leagues, so the gold through... I think it's the bronze through gold and the plat through diamond. And there's the open, which is going to have the higher level players. So regardless of whether these guys are going to participate, you could participate. You can win a cash prize for the open one, and then as it gets bigger, the prize is going to get bigger. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be good to have more North American players, more North American tournaments and content. So I definitely look forward to this, and I'll post these things on Reddit, and hopefully it turns out good, regardless of these guys, being Debbie Downers and not participating. One thing that's being brought up in the chat, though, is the match fixing for Pro League. And now, do you guys have any thoughts on that, PengWin?
I feel like this is a really interesting time for this to be an allegation, because we just saw, like, a day or two before this whole drama, the big post about Hydra versus Coach Park drama.
Right.
Which kind of, for those people who missed it, it basically touched on how there's a lot of paranoia still in the Korean scene about match fixing, even though there's very, very little evidence to suggest there's actual match fixing going on. And Hydra, or not Hydra, sorry, this is Effort. Effort was saying that apparently some teams used match fixing allegations in order to, like, bring negative attention to players so that they could afford to pay them less in contract negotiations. And this is all just what Effort was saying, and it's not like there's no concrete proof behind this either. But as somebody who knows San pretty well, I mean, this is probably the stance of, like, the friends of everyone who's been involved in actual match fixing as well. But, like, I know the guy well enough to say that I'm pretty certain he would never engage in match fixing. And a comment I saw on Reddit kind of put it the best way, in my opinion. It's more likely that somebody close to San, or somebody in the know about his medical condition with his wrists and the lack of practice he's been able to do, somebody in the know probably found out that, hey, he's playing Dark. Dark's probably going to win. It's even more likely that Dark's going to win because San is having medical issues. Let's put a big bet on Dark, rather than San going in and throwing a game against Dark. No, that's my view on it.
I think the Effort post was very interesting and possibly revealing. There's a lot of allegations that don't have something backing them up, but it does make it a little suspect with how things came up. QXC, do you follow the Pro League scene? Did you follow what's going on there at all?
I heard about it. I don't know. Just because there were unusual bets, like I don't have any idea how their algorithm detects that or what that even means. So I think it's very hard to really speak on.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's an important thing. I didn't even fucking read it, but everybody's telling me this, so I'm just parroting this. I think the match fixing didn't actually arise out of things that happen in game. It just had to do with betting patterns, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that?
It was the betting website that seemed to come forward with it.
Yeah. So that's important to know, because algorithms to do with betting are, I guess, aren't necessarily indicative of some kind of rigged match, maybe. But
I mean, the game looked normal. I mean, I guess the point is, if you are match fixing, you want the game to look normal, but between the game looking normal, me knowing San, and I mean, I just have a very hard time believing that there was any kind of match fixing without concrete proof.
Oh, there you go.
All right. So I think PengWin has spoken. That wraps us up, guys. I can't drag this on for any longer. We've been on for 2 hours, 20 minutes. I imagine these folks have people to do. Are any of you guys going to stream tonight?
I might.
No.
I got WCS match.
All right. Well, then Steven will be hosted after this. I'm going to play one game with 3,000 viewers so I can feel good about myself, and then I'm going to pass off the viewers to Steven. So with that, this is a shout-out time. So Stefan PengWin, Mott, go ahead.
Well, quick shout out to my team, My Insanity, and our sponsors, Logitech G, World of CD Keys, Bison, and Esport Clothing. And yep.
Cool
Shout out
beans.
to Kane and Cyril, who are playing in WCS Challenger this week.
Yep. All right. Puck, go ahead.
Shout out to Flipside and my fans, and along with my family who continuously support me, and thank you for having me on the show.
Always good to have you, buddy. QXC?
Thanks, man. Thanks for inviting me back. I'm really looking forward to next week where we actually get to do the changes. Of course, the balance test map isn't yet live, but will be soon. And big thanks to Complexity Gaming, continuing to support me, our sponsors, Sound Blaster, Cyberpower PC, Newegg, Creative, Twitch, Corsair Gaming, DX Racer, PengWin, and Scuff Gaming. And be sure to check out my match against Kane on Saturday for WCS. If I lose, I will be taking a possibly indefinite break from StarCraft. If I win, I will be playing some more.
Playing with our emotions. That's what you're doing.
Yep, basically.
All right, Steven, any shout-outs? Any all that good jazz?
Shout out to Huck and Desiro's Patreon. I hope they do good there.
Definitely.
Where's our Patreon?
We haven't started a Patreon or a donate button yet, but one day.
Yeah, thanks for having me on Lycan. Sorry, I had stuff I had to take care of before this. Thanks for Stefan and QXC and Puck for coming on. Yeah.
Yep. So with that, guys, that's the end of the show. No shout-outs for me, except if you have Twitter, I like Twitter followers. It makes me feel good about myself, at LycanGTV. So the same as the channel name. That's my Twitter name. You can follow and get updates about the show. Go check out Desiro's show. He's on tomorrow, usually on Tuesday. Twitch.tv/DesiroFighting, I believe. Go support their Patreon. They're doing great stuff. Great show. So definitely check them out. And you'll get to watch one Gold League match after this, and then I'm going to pass the stream off to Destiny. So stick around if you can. If not, thank you, and have a good night.